his heart shattered in pieces, dropping to his knees, pushing through unbelievable pain. The final outcome, getting wiped from reality right in the hands of his biggest rival, right as his eyes shut for good. And that's where it gets crazy. He wakes up in his childhood body, sent back in time, known as the biggest joke in his bloodline. Zero respect, slept on, treated like pure trash. But everyone made a massive mistake. Deep down, his mind still holds all the forbidden secrets of the future. Grabbing this second chance, he's gonna trigger a cracked awakening. Even if fate tries to step in his way, he's burning it all down. Down a dark hallway, a trail of blood stretches across the stone floor. Spotting a badly hurt guy, this blonde woman demands to know where he is. But our boy's so beaten and out of breath he can hardly even answer. Furious, she aims her blade right at his face and demands an answer. The camera then pans to another dude sitting against the wall, his eyes glowing purple. Walking up to him, the swordswoman gets into stance thinking, who would have guessed that she? Turns out she's the direct disciple of the Sword Saint, and with just a single strike, she managed to wipe out hundreds of demonic cult members, proving she's the most cracked fighter in the entire world. And throughout this nightmare of a war, they say she's the heavenly demon destined to end it all. In a bright flash, a blade pierces right through, landing a clean hit right in the heavenly demon's back. With a tight grip on her sword's scabbard, she draws the blade for a fast, heavy slash. And that's where it gets crazy. The one who took her down was the divine sword, we say oh ah. Back in the present, she grabs our MC by the collar, screaming that he has to know something, demanding the location of the rest of the demonic cult. She begs him to speak up if he's still got even a drop of humanity left. Struggling, he realizes he knows the answer, but his vocal cords are wrecked and he can't make a sound. On top of that, a cursed seal on his heart keeps him from opening his mouth at all. Tears falling, she warns him this is his final chance. Pinning our MC against the wall, she adds that even though everyone wants him dead, if he helps her out, she'll risk everything to save his life. Then, breaking into sobs, she starts begging for his help. Utterly desperate, she grips him even tighter, pleading for him to just spit out what he knows. At that moment, our boy wonders if she's acting like this out of guilt for wronging the cult members, and while that's possible, he figures it's actually about her fiancé, the meteor sword Jung Seon-yeon, and the rumors about his kidnapping. Looking at her, he finds the whole thing ridiculous, wondering how such an OP woman could get this stressed over a guy. Teeth gritted, the swordswoman stares him down with a look of pure agony. With a sudden movement, our boy grabs her back hard and just slams her right into the wall. Watching her get back up, he angrily spits that if he knew how much of a scumbag she was, he would have ended her the first time they met. Full of regret, the woman replies that she really wishes she had done exactly that. Turning his back, he wonders when their first meeting was in her memories. He figures her version of events is probably way different from his own. Memories of his confused younger self hit him, and he wonders, when did everything start going wrong? After all, he turned into a traitor who walked the demonic path and betrayed countless people, so he figures this is just his payback. Shoving his body aside, the woman steps back, still super shaken up. Completely confused, she takes another step back, realizing something's way off. Down on the floor, she sees the guy has completely collapsed. Breathing heavy at the sight of him on the ground, she asks, "Shinma, what are you doing?" His heart starts pounding with this crazy force as the spell kicks in. Out of nowhere, the woman watches in shock as our MC coughs up a massive amount of blood. And with his hand against the bloody floor, he remembers the curse he's carrying. Dragging his fingers through the red, he knows exactly what's going down. The curse is simple. If he breaks the condition, his heart just bursts. The cult's demonic art activates, making him writhe in pure agony, since the rule is to never betray the cult. And meanwhile, the woman is just shaking him and screaming his name. Dropping to her knees, she asks why he's coughing up blood, saying she can barely hear him and suggesting they could claim it was a setup or that he was forced. He looks right at her and asks if she'd actually believe him if he said none of this was his choice. But seeing the shock on her face, he figures she probably wouldn't buy it, and even though he has his reasons, at this point he feels like he doesn't have a single regret left. Leaning his hand on the ground, he whispers that it's all fine. His heart beats out of his chest again, making him cough up more blood. Almost instantly he stumbles backward, losing his balance entirely, and with this sharp pain in his chest, he asks himself how his life ended up like this. Then, a flashback of a chat with a woman in red hits him. He remembers her gasping for air, taking her final breaths, and how he just stood there, watching her with this deeply sad look, listening to her last words as she smiled, begging her little brother to live a happy life. Finally back in reality, our MC is already lifeless on the floor, while the woman holds him, crying out his name for nothing. Looking back on the past, our boy thinks about how meaningless his life was, just woven together by a bunch of regrets. In one memory, this little girl is sitting all alone and bruised up in a dark, rocky spot, Suddenly, the sound of footsteps splashing in the water catches her attention. A guy then appears right in front of her, making her look up. With a weak voice, the kid asks if it's really him. Tears in her eyes but forcing a smile, she apologizes for something. He just watches her in silence, staring back with his glowing purple eyes. In the present, the blonde swordswoman is just sobbing desperately over his body, screaming his name. As her tears drop onto his face, a thought pops up. Even a life like this. Shifting to another memory in the rain, our boy asks if she's crying. Annoyed, a white-haired woman tells him not to be dumb, since anyone can see it's just the rain. But right after that, she stammers and admits she's actually not crying at all. Glancing up at the rainy sky, he asks if the moon is out yet, and she says, yeah. Hurt and collapse on the ground. The girl gives a weak smile and says both moons are out, which is great. Right, and our boy's bloody, reaching hand just drops, completely limp. And the woman next to him passes away right after, sporting a fatal chest wound. Cutting back to his dead body, a voiceover kicks in. Chidma, from the Jin family of Shanxi, born into a righteous sect and originally a good dude. He ended up turning into an apostle for the demonic cult, and after losing the Great War, faced heavy torture, and the result of all that was his tragic end. Closing his eyes for the final time, his journey wraps up. Suddenly, and no one saw that coming, a little kid's voice calls out to him, offering a potato and asking if he's hungry. Completely shocked, our boy just stares at the girl, having no clue what's going on, and just goes, huh. Realizing he's suddenly back on a busy street, he gets even more confused. Baffled, our boy wonders what the heck just happened, remembering that he knew for a fact he broke the heavenly demon's main rule, shattering his heart into 1,000 pieces. The whole thing leaves him dying right there in Wee So-ah's arms. But as he feels his own chest, he realizes his heart is beating perfectly fine, like nothing even happened. Slowly lowering his hand, he tries to process the whole thing. Looking down at his own tiny, clean hands, he realizes he's a kid again, wondering if this is all just some wild dream. But then a question hits him. Why, out of all his memories, why did he have to jump back to the exact moment he first met her? Racking his brain, he tries to remember what he even said to her back then. In a super clear flashback, his hand smacks the potato right out of her grip. The little girl jumps back, terrified by his aggressive move, and without a second thought, he stomps hard on the food, crushing it into the dirt. With a look of pure disgust, his younger self yells, asking how she dares offer him trash like that and calling her insolent. Face-palming hard, our boy groans, confirming that's exactly how it went down. A faint smile crosses his face as he figures if this is his dream, he must have a ton of regrets. But this is where it gets good. To the girl's shock, our boy actually grabs a potato from her basket, right as she's saying she gets why he hates them. With a genuine smile, he thanks her and says he's gonna enjoy every bite. He takes a massive bite, immediately burns his mouth, and screams, wondering how this can be hot if it's just a dream. The little girl just cracks up watching this, finding his bright red face hilarious. Out of nowhere, a guard shows up shouting, "Young master," while our confused MC is still dealing with a burning mouth from that hot potato. Getting closer, the guy mentions the young master suddenly vanished. As our boy tries to remember this escort guard's name, he forces his memory and realizes the guy's name is Mu Jin, right as the worried guard asks if something happened. Completely ignoring the question, our boy just keeps his tongue sticking out, trying to cool off from that scalding potato. Spotting the little girl, the guard gets furious and yanks our MC back, yelling about how she dares offer that to the young master and demanding he drop the potato. Unbothered, our little MC just asks if the guard has any medicinal herbs on him, leaving Mujin completely puzzled by the request. Then, pulling out the last piece of candy he had, he gets ready to do something nobody expected. He turns to the girl and offers her the sweet, and despite the guard warning him not to share food with strangers, he insists it's for her, leaving her stunned. Scratching his head a bit awkwardly, he explains that since she gave him a tasty potato, he wanted to pay her back, but this was all he had left. Her eyes sparkling with pure joy, the little girl is totally captivated by the shiny treat he just handed over. Blown away, she realizes this is the very first time she's ever received something so sweet and fragrant in her entire life. Right at that moment, the guard Mujin shouts out the girl's name, Wise Soul, taking everyone by surprise. Running frantically through the crowd, an old man suddenly pops up yelling out, "Grandpa!" The guy wraps his granddaughter in a huge hug, sighing in relief and saying he thought she went missing. Scolding the little kid, he demands to know why she let go of his hand in the first place. With a huge smile, she answers that she's fine and the potatoes are safe too, but her grandpa fires back that the potatoes aren't the issue here. Worried sick, the old man checks her over, asking if she got hurt or into any trouble, but she shakes her head and promises everything's fine. Watching this whole interaction unfold, our MC recognizes the old guy, and that's where it gets crazy. He thinks he is. Suddenly remembering, the little girl points her hand out and excitedly yells that she gave one of her potatoes to him. She points right at our boy, excitedly telling her grandpa how she gave him a potato as a gift. Shocked by his granddaughter's words, the old man reacts in a split second. Grabbing the little kid by the arm, he starts dragging her away as she confusingly asks where they're even going. The old man bows deeply right in front of our MC, apologizing and explaining that his naive granddaughter accidentally offended the young master. But with a warm smile, our boy tells him not to sweat it, because honestly, he's the one who should be thanking her. Holding tightly onto that candy, he gets ready to clear the air. His tongue gets super formal as he tells them how grateful he is that she shared her potato and cured his hunger. And since all he has to pay her back with is a sweet, he hands it over, politely asking if the old man would accept his gift. Staring at the sweet, the grandpa is speechless, having no clue how to handle this kindness. But before he can even answer, little Weasel happily takes the gift, completely ignoring her grandpa. Up close, she is amazed by the candy, shouting about how shiny and sweet it looks. Turning down the gift, the old man says they can't take something so valuable, and saying goodbye, he hurries off, leaving our MC totally confused. Our boy calls out for them to wait, making the grandpa brace himself to step in, thinking the kid is still mad. Yet, when he turns around, our MC just says this is his payback gift and hopes they cross paths again in the future. With a quick read of the room, our boy offers the girl another potato, saying it's enough and everything's cool. Watching his granddaughter, the old man thinks, Weasel, looks like you found it. And just like that, from a distance, the little girl waves goodbye to him. Somewhere else, this OP guy sitting on a throne seems deep in thought about something major. A voiceover then reveals that this man is known as the strongest in Murim, one of the three venerables, and the one dude the evil cult fears the most. His name is finally revealed as the Sword Venerable, Wee Jaeong. Flashing one last smile, little Weasel waves her final goodbye to our boy. With a tiny smirk, our MC watches the whole scene play out. Right after that, Mujin calls him over, letting him know it's time to head back to the estate. Feeling a soft breeze in a flower field, a voice whispers that since there are no more regrets, it's time to wake up from the dream. They arrive in front of this massive estate and the guard announces they're back. But our MC looks pretty annoyed by the whole thing. Wondering to himself, he questions why the dream isn't over yet. Because if this really was one, he should have woken up ages ago. But what if this isn't a dream at all, making him think this might all be tied to the heavenly demon's curse? In that exact moment, the image of a mysterious woman with a subtle smile flashes in his mind. Snapping back to reality, a female voice calls him a weirdo, and our boy recognizes that tone right away. Full of disgust, the voice keeps going, pointing out that in the presence of the family head, he didn't run away and actually had the guts to show up, leading our boy to identify her as the Red Flame Sword, Jin Se-yeon. Deep in his thoughts, he confirms that this is his second sister, which also makes her the person who looks down on him the most in the entire family. However, he gets that if the family head is around, everyone must be gathered for something major. Walking up with a mocking glare, his sister asks what kind of ridiculous scheme he has planned for today. She then throws an arm around his shoulder, warning him to drop the games and just disappear. With a quick slap, our MC knocks her arm away, replying he's just showing up where he belongs. But she snaps back, asking why he never bothered before. Turning his face, he admits it's his fault and promises he'll apologize to the family head later. Both Mujin and his sister are totally shocked by this unexpected reaction, since the young master would never apologize for anything. All of a sudden, a furious voice screams his full name, Jin Yang-chan, and with an explosive impact, a super powerful figure lands right in front of them. Striding forward, a woman approaches sporting a look of pure rage. Full of disdain, she admits she has no clue what he's plotting, but strongly advises him to stop right there. Gritting her teeth, the woman threatens him, claiming she's seriously losing her patience this time. But before she can even finish, our boy cuts her off, asking her to hold up for a second. He points right beside them and corrects her, explaining it's not the third brother causing trouble, but actually the family head, who just pulled up. On top of a massive horse, a mysterious masked figure charges toward them at full speed. Halting right in front of the group, the scarred man asks why they're making so much noise. Thanks to the family head's arrival, everyone immediately bows down out of respect. Keeping a dead serious look, the guy just stares them down in complete silence. Head down, our boy just waits for some kind of order or reaction. Throwing an intimidating glare, the family head assesses the whole situation. He then turns to one of his subordinates, calling him director. Right away, the guy answers and the boss asks if the sword squad is ready, getting told the first squad is resting while the fourth is on standby. The boss then orders the fourth squad to gear up and meet him the second they're good to go. From the sidelines, our MC realizes that whether this is a dream or reality, that man's gaze completely crushes him with pressure. Stopping in his tracks, The family head suddenly grabs everyone's attention, and turning straight to our boy, he drops the order that the third son better come to his room right after finishing his meal. Absolutely stunned, our boy's siblings freeze up. Having zero reaction to this crazy curveball, trying to break the ice, our kid turns to his sister and asks if she happens to have any stomach medicine. Under the glow of the full moon, night completely takes over the estate. Meanwhile, inside a massive dining hall, the meal gets served in dead silence. With his eyes glued to the untouched food, our boy feels incredibly awkward. He chews incredibly slowly, thinking about how this dinner vibe is always the exact same, so tense that the food just tastes like cardboard. Trapped in his seat, he reflects that while it's embarrassing to seek him out willingly, the main issue right now is the crazy tension at the table, wondering if someone could just lighten the mood. Breaking the silence, the family head calls out to his second daughter. In a totally calm tone, he mentions hearing that her martial arts training is going really well. Super hyped, she confirms it, bragging that she had a few epiphanies and hit the 3-star level a couple of days ago. The family head actually praises her progress, calling it impressive to reach that level at her age, and hyping her up to keep going, which makes her bow deeply in thanks. Seeing his sister all happy over the compliment, our MC thinks it's cracked that she hit the 3-star level this young, but figures it makes sense since she's so talented and hardworking. Surprised to see her actually smiling, our boy reflects that he never pictured her like this, and she looks way better when she smiles. A second later, she shoots him a pure death glare, making him instantly regret the thought and feel like absolute dirt. And no one saw that coming. The dad shatters the tense vibe by calling for his third son, leaving our boy sweating at the table. Asking about his day, the boss mentions he heard the kid went to the market, and our boy confirms it, claiming he had some business to handle. He just mutters a low, seeming to weigh that answer in total silence. Suddenly, catching everyone off guard, he just stands right up from the table, announcing that he's heading out. He tells them to keep eating, leaving our MC with the gut feeling that his dad wanted to say something else. Then, our kid remembers his dad told him to come by after dinner, figuring that's when he'll drop whatever's on his mind, right as a maid walks over. Whispering in his ear, the maid says the boss told him to rest up and push their chat to tomorrow, leaving our MC stunned. Now back in his room, lying by the window, he wonders what's up with that sudden change of plans. Thinking over everything, he figures since he hasn't woken up yet, this can't be a dream, wondering if he actually pulled off a legendary reincarnation. Dropping his hand from his face, he starts accepting this wild new reality. Clenching his fist hard, a fresh wave of determination sparks in his eyes. Weighing his options, he wonders if he could take down the heavenly demon now, but quickly brushes it off as a pipe dream, remembering how OP that enemy is. Flashing back to his past life, he remembers how he willingly bowed to the heavenly demon just to survive, becoming one of his apostles. That one choice filled him with a heavy regret he carried right to the bitter end. But despite all that guilt, his past life actually taught him a ton of valuable lessons. Because now that he scored a chance to respawn, things are gonna be way different. Making his choice, our MC decides to switch things up this time, figuring since Wee Soul is gonna body the heavenly demon anyway, he'll just chill until it all blows over. Then again, he changes his mind, realizing he can't throw away the second chance and definitely doesn't want a repeat of that past tragedy. Letting out a heavy sigh, he figures he's gotta start somewhere. Focusing his energy, he visualizes his inner power flow, seeing these red lines run through his entire body. Out of nowhere, a tiny flame sparks right from his core. Staring down at the tiny fireball in his palm, he just lets out an ironic laugh, realizing he dug through his entire body just to scrape up that pathetic amount of internal energy, leaves him super disappointed. Comparing his mid-energy to his older sister who already hit level 3, he realizes just how cracked her progress really is. Even so, he knows he's not completely helpless here. With that in mind, he plans to grind the mental technique exclusive to the Jinn bloodline, already pulsing deep in his chest. Known as the Jinn Firewheel technique, he slowly builds up his power, looking just like a flower in full bloom. Because once you hit level 4, this art lets you project a blazing red aura, and maxing it out at level 7 wraps your whole body in it, acting as a fiery armor. Except right now, compared to his older sister, our boy is stuck at a measly level 1. Fired up, he decides to hoard internal energy and grind hard to reach level 2 as fast as humanly possible. Trying to dodge his past mistakes and score a peaceful life, he knows he's got to boost his strength through his own hard work, rather than just borrowing power from the demonic cult like last time. Channeling the energy into his hands, he gets ready to train. But right away, he hits a wall, gritting his teeth in pure pain. Watching his energy scatter into tiny sparks, he realizes something super wrong. Collapsing onto his bed completely drained, our boy figures if he keeps pushing like this, his bones are gonna crumble. Breathing heavily, he realizes handling internal energy with his current stats is no joke, and forcing it might trigger a deadly chi deviation. flashing a satisfied grin through gritted teeth. He clearly has a plan cooking, since despite the crazy struggle, he actually squeezed out some solid gains from that session. Flexing his new power, he summons a fiery aura spinning right around an energy spear. Clenching his fists tight, he confirms he just hit the early stage of level 2 and decides to stick to this pace. Chilling on the edge of the roof, he plans to take it step by step, just without dragging his feet. Hoping to dodge those past mistakes, he knows he can't be reckless and trigger some massive butterfly effect. All of a sudden, the sound of a bird chirping catches his ear. Waking up covered in sweat and hurting everywhere, he groans about how his body could possibly ache this much. Sprawled on the floor, he complains that he barely even trained yet feels this sore, finding the whole thing pathetic. Throwing his clothes on, he kicks himself for slacking off back then, and realizes he's got a mountain of work ahead. Planning to go see his dad later this afternoon, he figures that before heading over, he needs to sneak in a bit more training, but opening the door, he runs straight into an unexpected guest. Flashing a bright smile, little Weasel greets him, happily pointing out they cross paths again. Staring at this weird, glowing rift in space, a voice asks what he's looking at and why he hasn't headed back yet. Gazing up at the sky, some guy questions if that thing is a star and if anything like it ever even existed. Out of nowhere, the spatial tear starts twisting around, heavily pulsing with energy. Paralyzed by fear, the man stutters, having zero clue what's going down. And this is where it gets crazy. One random day, everything just exploded, kicking off an era of pure chaos. Demonic beasts and terrifying monsters swarmed the entire world, tearing right through the fabric of reality. A disaster unlike anything before crashed down on everyone. Spawning out of thin air, a portal that later got dubbed the Gate of the Demonic Realm cracked wide open. Scrambling to handle the threat, the different sects formed the only squad tough enough to fight back, the Sword Squad. Acting as a vital fighting force for every sect, the Jin family ran 5 of these units, with his older sister captaining one of them. Looking back, our MC explains that since he was always causing trouble, he got forced to train under her command for half a year. Getting dragged around left and right, he remembers exactly how brutal that training session really was. And it was actually during this time that our boy and Weasel officially crossed paths for the very first time. But now that he thinks about it, he realizes they shouldn't have met until at least half a year after the Tamelingen incident, making this timeline way off. Caught off guard, he spots the girl sprawled out right in the hallway. Backing into his room, our boy figures he just hasn't fully woken up yet, tuning out the girl shouting. But feeling a hard tug on his shirt, a hand suddenly grabs him as she yells for him to wait up. Pushing to close the door, our boy gets blocked by the girl holding her ground tight. Firing a determined glare, she asks for his help, claiming that starting today, smacking her hand right off, our boy harshly pushes her away. Out of nowhere, an old man pops up and scolds the kid, saying her name is Weasel, and reminding her to not act rude toward the young master. Beyond confused by the whole thing, our MC wonders what the heck that old guy just said. Ordering the girl to apologize right away, the old man forces her to bow down, leaving our boy completely clueless about what's happening. Arms crossed, our boy watches the old man take a deep bow right in front of him, introducing himself as Wei Wen. The old guy explains the family head sent him to serve the young master, swearing he'll do his best despite his age and asking for guidance. Finding that name super weird, our boy questions if it shouldn't actually be Wei Xiaojun. Stuttering hard, the little kid introduces herself as Wei Seal, saying she's here to help the young master alongside her grandpa, and asking him to treat her well. Beyond shocked, our MC wonders who's actually helping who here, doubting they really mean him. Sighing heavily, he figures if this came straight from the family boss, they really were sent to be his servants. Rolling with it, he tells them to look after him, feeling like this new life kicked off on a weird note, and asks them to drop the young master title, though they clumsily refuse. Sweeping up the courtyard, the old guy gets right to his daily chores. Kicking back on the porch, our boy just watches the old man sweep back and forth. Racking up the job, the old dude walks off with the broom tossed over his shoulder. Sporting a worn-out look, he drops his head a bit, looking pretty exhausted. Taking it all in, our MC seriously questions if any of this is actually right. Shifting his gaze, he notices the real issue right now is something entirely different. Holding a massive stack of clothes, he stumbles a bit under the heavy weight. Catching sight of little Weasel hauling a mountain of laundry, the other maids warn her it's dangerous to carry it all, but the kid insists she's got it. Trying to step in, one of the maids offers to split the load, only for Weasel to brush her off, claiming she can carry the whole thing herself. Without missing a beat, our boy kicks a rock right into her path, making her trip up. Letting out a panicked yelp, the little girl crashes hard into the dirt, launching clothes and her basket everywhere. Watching from a distance, the other maids and her grandpa catch the fall, while our MC just views the whole mess from his porch. Showing zero reaction, her grandpa just keeps watching the scene unfold in dead silence. just clicking his tongue in disapproval. The old guy looks like he couldn't care less about her fall. Noting how clumsy she is, our boy figures she's pretty useless, though he admits anyone can slip up. But the whole thing feels off and he wonders how someone with that much martial arts talent can be so wildly uncoordinated. Pushing himself up while grabbing his head, our MC groans about a massive headache kicking in. Seeing the kid wander off, one of the maids calls out to her, asking where she's headed. Balancing a basket on her head, the kid simply marches straight toward our boy. Asking what she wants, our kid tells her to get back to work, but she insists she's gotta follow him everywhere on someone's orders, making him ask, who? Pointing right at her grandpa sweeping nearby, the kid yells his name, finally making the whole situation click for our MC. Realizing she's basically his personal maid, he figures the older staff just dumped all their unwanted chores on the newbie. Thinking about his status, our boy wonders if it's even normal to hire just anyone to serve him, considering he's from a major family. Feeling this massive weight on his shoulders, our MC realizes that having Wee Soul and the Sword Venerable serving him is just way too much pressure. With a bright smile, the girl finishes fixing his outfit and says he's all set. Looking down, our MC realizes the sash on his clothes is tied in this incredibly crooked, weird way. Confused by the whole thing, our boy wonders if his dad knows their true identities or just threw them in to fill an open spot. He decides to let it go for now, figuring he'll uncover the truth later when he meets his dad, and starts pulling on his boots. Stepping out into the courtyard, our boy heads down the stairs with the girl right behind him, still trying to wrap his head around this mess. The girl rushes over saying she wants to tag along with the young master too, but our boy stays detained instantly, asking where she thinks she's going and telling her to stay back and learn how to do her job. Her eyes full of tears, the little girl nods, clearly super bummed out by his answer. Just watching from a distance, her grandpa stays silent with this dead serious look on his face. A heavy tension builds up as the two just stare each other down for a second, without saying a single word. He turns to head inside, reminding her to learn how to do things right. As he opens the door, he leaves her behind in the hallway, ready to step into the room. Throwing one last glance over his shoulder, he seems to hesitate for just a split second. Before shutting the door, he promises to bring the medicine back and tells her to grind hard on her studies. Then, with a loud thud, the door slams shut right in her face. Her whole face lighting up, the girl breaks into a massive smile, spreading her bright energy to everyone around. The grandpa smiles with pride, celebrating the mention of the medicine and feeling hyped about her progress. Walking alone down a hallway, our boy admits to himself that he's actually freaking out right now. He thinks about how his relationship with his dad was always rock bottom even in his past life, realizing they never had a private chat and not knowing how to kick things off. Planning out the talk, he decides to just listen to his dad first and then ask why Weasel and her grandpa were sent to be his servants. Suddenly, the door swings open and his dad demands to know why he's just standing out there scaring him half to death. Ordering him to get inside, the dad looks super annoyed while our boy just nods, as the family boss secretly thinks it would have been better if the kid had just died. Now sitting at the table, his dad asks if he met the new servants, and our boy confirms they said hi this morning, prompting his dad to ask for his thoughts on them. Keeping things polite, our MC says he's super grateful for the help, but starts questioning why those specific people got assigned to him. But before he can even finish his question, his dad just blanks him and takes a silent sip of his drink. Claiming it's not the right time yet, the boss says he'll explain everything when the moment comes, and our boy just nods along saying he gets it. His heart racing, our MC stays quiet, trying to process that highly cryptic answer. Deep in thought, he realizes his dad knows everything but sent them anyway, wondering what the guy could have possibly told Wei Xiaojun. Telling him to drop the useless worries, the dad orders him to gear up for the dragon gathering happening the next day, and our boy just agrees. Beyond confused, our kid wonders what the heck this dragon gathering even is, but the very next second, with his eyes wide in pure terror, the memory hits him like a truck, making him panic just thinking about that event. With a dead serious look, our boy orders his crew to slice his neck right then and there. Visibly stressed, one of his servants calls out to the young master, not understanding the crazy request at all, asking if he seriously wants to skip the dragon gathering. The guy just gets a blunt yes right back, meant to honor the young heroes who risked their lives at the demonic gate. The gathering goes down twice a year, and since it's also a massive draft to pick new members for the sword squad, everyone from the main family is forced to show up. He doubles down on the idea, telling the servant to just make the cut, since a dead guy doesn't have to go anywhere. The servant unrolls a scroll and warns him that pulling a stunt like that would definitely make the family head kill him for real. Revealing that the host is the second elder, the guy drops the bomb that this elder promised to tear our MC to shreds if he tries to run away again, leaving the kid speechless. Our boy grits his teeth in pure frustration expression, thinking, damn it, why did it have to be him? Flashing back, he remembers how the elders always breathed down his neck since childhood, with the second elder being the absolute worst, always demanding he become some kind of prodigy. Even though he's somewhat grateful, our MC recalls how that old man always found time to force harsh lessons on him and scold him, which just gave him a massive headache. Realizing the elder actually had a sense of responsibility his dad lacked, our boy feels like a fool, and right as the servant asks what's wrong, he just brushes it off as talking to himself and asks when they're leaving, finding out they'll head out the second everyone's geared up. Outside, a few servants are gossiping about Wee Seal, talking about how pretty she is and how she's definitely gonna break a ton of hearts when she grows up. Calling out to one of the maids, our boy asks if they aren't ready yet, but she apologizes, explaining they got caught up helping little Wee Seal. In a highly annoyed tone, our MC asks if the little kid messed something up again. Looking super awkward, the maids just stutter out a, well, as they step aside, and parting the way, they reveal little Wee Soul, all dressed up and clearly blushing hard. His jaw hitting the floor, our boy just freezes up, having zero clue how to react. The very next second, our MC turns bright red, fully caught off guard by the girl's glow-up. With a charming smile, little Wee Seal looks even prettier, with these imaginary flowers blooming all around her. Walking up to our boy, who's still stunned, she calls out to him as the young master, all hyped up with blushing cheeks. The kid mentions how the other maid said she looks super pretty. Awkward as hell, our MC stammers out that yeah, she looks nice, but he's visibly embarrassed by the whole thing. Tucking a strand of hair behind her ear, the girl gives off this shy little smile, and looking right at him, she asks in this sweet voice if the young master thinks she's pretty too. Hitting his absolute limit, our boy turns as red as a tomato, blowing steam out of his ears from pure embarrassment. He desperately tries to change the subject, yelling for everyone to just head out already, but the little girl keeps pressing the question, and just like that, with the wheels spinning fast, the carriage takes off, officially kicking off their trip. She is entirely blown away by the speed, screaming that the carriage is moving super fast. Surprised by her reaction, one of the maids asks if this is her first time riding in one, and the kid replies she thought horses were just for eating, leaving the maid speechless. Meanwhile, in another carriage, our MC asks who's running the event, and his servant drops the name Kinri Merchant Guild, the most famous one around, proving the second elder is going all out. Suggesting he catch some sleep, the servant warns that the trip will take about 4 hours, and our boy agrees, yawning about how his late-night training wrecked his sleep. But trying to pass out, our MC gets cut off by Wee Soul's excited yells from the other carriage, going off about the smell of horse meat. Losing his patience, he marches over to her carriage and shoves a sweet in her mouth, telling the kid to be quiet and eat her medicine. Without a single complaint, the girl starts chewing on the candy, clearly loving the taste of it. Finally scoring some peace and quiet, our boy tries to sleep, while the now chill girl just watches him from the sidelines. He decides to use the moment to grab a quick nap, thinking he finally locked in some silence. But out of nowhere, the little girl wakes him up, saying in this worried voice that her medicine is all gone. Still half asleep, our MC mumbles something, but the kid quickly lets him know they actually made it to their destination. Caught off guard by that, our boy asks if they're seriously already there, and peeking through the carriage crack, he takes a curious look at the outside. A bustling city lit up with tons of lanterns greets him, leaving him fully amazed by the massive crowd of people. Stepping out to stretch, he points out the crowd, while little Wee Seal gets completely hypnotized by the smell of street food. Right at that moment, a voice greets him, mentioning it must have been a really long trip. The man introduces himself as the vice manager of the Qianri Merchant Guild, calling it a huge honor to meet the future star of the Jin family. He replies politely, introducing himself and saying the pleasure is all his. Giving thanks to the second elder and Miss Jin, our boy gets invited to follow the guy to his room. But just hearing that lady's title makes our MC's blood boil, feeling like he's ready to snap. Walking through the venue, he prays he won't have the bad luck of bumping into her, but his fear quickly morphs into a terrible gut feeling when he spots a very familiar figure from behind. And that's where it gets crazy to his pure horror. The person turns around and his worst nightmare comes to life. With a look of pure hatred, his sister stares him down, making the whole vibe incredibly heavy. She speaks with pure disgust, pointing out that there's nothing more pathetic than a family member dragging their own name through the mud. Trying to smooth things over, our boy promises to behave and tells her she doesn't need to stress over him. Except that answer just makes her madder, and she yells, asking whoever said she was worried about him. Startled by the outburst, our MC takes a step back, while little Wee Seal shrinks down right next to him. The little girl grips his clothes tight, watching the drama unfold with a look of pure anxiety. Letting out an impatient sigh, his sister looks like she's at her absolute breaking point. She crosses her arms and calls him out, saying old habits die hard, and asking if he's planning to pull another stunt. Having no clue what she means, face. Our boy asks what the heck she's even talking about. But opening a door, his sister admits she actually thought he changed, only to realize he's still the exact same trash. With a heavy slam, the door shuts right in their faces, cutting the conversation dead. Fully lost, our MC wonders what her deal is, leaving everyone standing there in a super awkward silence. The vice manager tries to break the ice by saying sibling fights are normal and invites them to rest, but our boy asks to check out one spot first. Arriving at this massive arena, the sheer scale of the place absolutely blows everyone away. Starstruck, little Weasel mentions she's never seen a place this huge, and our MC awkwardly agrees. He takes in the crazy scale of the event, figuring that even though guilds always flex their wealth, this is just way too over the top. Looking down at the sword squads lined up below, he remembers today is the exact day they're supposed to be honored for their hard work. Fast forward to the next day, the highly anticipated sword squad selection officially kicks off with a bunch of matches. Breathing a sigh of relief, one of his relatives mentions how lucky they are that the main family doesn't have to compete. So our boy figures he can just kick back and watch the whole thing from a distance without getting dragged into the mess. But while he's spectating, he wonders if things could actually go south, completely missing the killer intent creeping up right behind him. Spinning around in a panic, our MC hears this deep voice, asking why he didn't run away this time. Crushed by this insane pressure, he spots the second elder walking up with a downright terrifying aura. Refusing to back down, our boy braces himself for whatever comes next, dead set on holding his ground. Except, to his total shock, the old man just ruffles his hair with a big grin on his face. Looking genuinely pleased, the elder mentions it's a huge surprise actually seeing him show up, asking why the kid didn't bail like he usually does. The old man jokes about him always running away, but our MC fires back that he only came because he was threatened with getting sliced in half. The elder plays the victim, asking who would dare say something so cruel, right as the servant next to him immediately points at the old guy. With a quick flick to our boy's forehead, the elder chuckles that he's getting pretty mouthy and turning into a tough little guy. Watching from the sidelines, little Weasel whispers that the elder always obsessed over our MC, probably since he's the family head's only son. Her eyes sparkling with pure hype, the kid suddenly blabs that bear meat must taste amazing, just like horse meat. A serious chill runs down his spine as our boy realizes the elder is shooting him the super dark glare. Completely terrified, the little girl starts shaking like a leaf, having zero clue why the old man looks so mad. Leaking an even scarier aura, the elder just keeps staring our MC down in dead silence. Shrinking back in pure dread, the kid freezes up, absolutely horrified by the whole vibe. He spots her panic, quickly pulls the kid behind his back, and tells the elder to cut the glaring since he's freaking her out. After a brief pause, the old guy finally shatters the heavy tension by asking a random question. With a smirk, the elder asks if the little girl is his secret concubine, leaving our boy completely speechless. Beyond offended, our MC asks what the heck he's talking about, telling him to check her clothes and explaining she's just a maid. The elder shrugs it off, saying that's fine then, but mutters about how boring the whole thing is. Reminding them the dragon gathering officially kicks off tomorrow, he orders our boy to get some sleep, while our MC secretly plans to bolt before the old guy eats him alive. Right before heading out, the elder drops one final warning for our kid. He slits his thumb across his throat, threatening that if he even thinks about running, he knows exactly what's coming. As the elder walks away, the kid asks if Grandpa Bear is really going to eat the young master, but the servant corrects her about the actual threat, making her panic even harder. Gazing up at the sky, the elder thinks to himself that, just like he suspected, something about the boy has definitely changed. The kid clings tight to our boy's arm, as he starts feeling like there's something super off about her too. Banners flapping in the wind, the entire city gears up for the massive event. Once morning hits, the dragon battle officially starts, with a massive crowd already packing the courtyard. Checking out the endless line, one of the guards mentions that with this many folks, things probably won't really heat up until noon, and our MC nods along. He's totally blown away by the turnout, admitting that even though it's open to anyone who can prove their ID, he never expected a crowd this huge. Our boy nods, noting that joining a sword squad is a pretty huge deal. Right as the little girl tugs his sleeve for attention, shaking with fear, the kid stutters out a question about whether Grandpa Bear is gonna snap her neck, leaving our boy wondering what's wrong with her. Trying to keep his cool, our MC tells the girl to back up a bit and asks why she even followed him if she's this terrified, but she claims her grandpa ordered her to stick close. The escort steps in to calm her down, saying not to sweat it because their bodyguard can totally beat Grandpa Bear, prompting the kid to ask if that's real. Wondering who this Grandpa Bear is, the guard figures out it's the second elder and scolds our boy for using the nickname, warning that he can't win against that guy and needs to show some respect. Our boy messes around, joking that in that case, their only option is to hand over Weasel's head, instantly throwing the kid into pure panic. Tears welling up in her eyes, the little kid starts crying about how this is her final day, dramatically saying she'll accept her fate if it keeps everyone else safe. Chuckling at her meltdown, our boy admits he was just messing with her, but she just keeps crying about her neck getting snapped. Pointing straight at a food stall, the kid says her grandpa told her ghosts who die with a full stomach look beautiful, especially if they stuff themselves with steamed buns. Steam rises from the stalls as the smell of street food fills the air, giving the whole place a really chill vibe. Our boy whispers to the guard, asking him to take care of the kid, adding that despite her being a servant, he actually cares about her, right as she nods along with a bright blush. Getting defensive, our boy tells the guard he totally missed how the kid was acting, admitting internally that seeing his past life overlap with her makes it super hard to figure out how to treat her. With a knowing smile, the guard points out that she completely forgets her place as a servant, yet our MC still bought her those buns anyway. Desperately trying to defend himself, our kid yells that he only did it because, but he completely chokes on his words, just staring at the guard in this super awkward silence. Wearing this huge smirk, the guard just watches him stumble. And this is where it gets good. The guard mentions our boy is completely different from the rumors, realizing you really can't trust gossip and that he's still got a lot to learn. Surprised, our MC asks if he only knows him through rumors and if he hasn't been his bodyguard for long. The man confirms the suspicion, replying that it hasn't even been half a month since he took the job. Processing the situation, our boy realizes the servant got hired right before his reincarnation, wondering if that's lucky for the guard or for himself. Suddenly, a loud shout of "My lady" startles our MC, making him almost jump out of his skin. Scolding the young girl, a woman warns that she can't just wander around so dangerously, but the lady brushes it off, saying the other woman is worrying over nothing. She points out the dragon gathering is happening, arguing that with so many Jinn family members around, nothing bad is gonna happen. Finding that voice super familiar, our boy wonders if it could actually be her. Still, the woman insists that's exactly why she's stressed, asking what would happen if they bumped into young Master Jinn. Looking doubtful, our MC wonders if they're talking about him, figuring it's highly unlikely with so much of his family nearby. From the other side, the young girl questions how that's even possible with such a massive crowd around. A cold chill runs down his spine, as our boy realizes that's exactly the kind of thing you never say out loud. Turning around to dip out as fast as possible, he tries to dodge the encounter completely, except his luck is terrible, so the second he turns, he comes face to face with the girl, who stares back looking shocked. Standing on opposite sides of the street, both groups just stare each other down in this tense, unexpected silence. Cold sweat drops down his face, leaving our boy visibly nervous about the run-in and clueless on how to react. Her eyes wide open, the girl also looks completely mind-blown to see him standing there. Stepping closer, the guard whispers something right into our MC's ear. He mentions the lady and her escort look like they saw a ghost, asking if our boy has any clue who they are. Wondering how he could ever forget her, our MC remembers those shoulder-length hairs and dark eyes that look like chess pieces. By checking out the ring on her hand, he spots a subtle pattern you can only catch up close. Yet, for him, already knowing that symbol, figuring out what that ring meant was a piece of cake. That right there was the emblem of the Hebei Peng family, famous for their cracked sword skills. With cherry blossoms falling all around them, the sight of that girl brings back a ton of memories. And nobody saw this coming back in his past life, sitting at a table with her. That young lady was actually his ex-fiancée. Looking back, our MC explains the reason behind his engagement to the OP Hebei Peng family was pretty simple. Since besides their fame, both kids were around the same age, he knew deep down that if everything went smoothly, he'd eventually take over as the head of the family. Meanwhile, the girl's family just figured it'd be a solid move to become relatives with the Jin clan. The only problem was our boy caused way too much trouble, pulling all sorts of bad stunts while ignoring his martial arts, and it was his own toxic actions that made this one sweet girl act so hostile. Snapping back to the present, the shocked lady asks how the heck he's even standing there. Firing the question right back, our boy says he should be the one asking what she's doing here. She snaps back that she's just sightseeing and doesn't owe him any explanations, leaving him speechless. Annoyed, the girl yells, asking why he's always so rude, reminding him she's actually a year older. With a mocking grin, our MC apologizes for forgetting, calling her big sis, and asking if that works for her. Telling him to hurry back after buying the steamed buns, her maid just nods and walks away. Sarcastically wishing them a safe trip back, our boy turns around with a sour look, trying to hide his annoyance. Claiming they've got stuff to do, they say a quick goodbye and hit the road. her eyes tracking them as they leave. The girl clicks her tongue, clearly annoyed by the unexpected run-in. Already dealing with a headache over her brother's drama, she hates bumping into him right now, but still hopes things go well for him. Noticing the kid next to MC, she wonders if that's a maid and figures he's got a pretty servant tagging along now, especially compared to how he used to act back in the day. Flashing back to the past, our boy throws an insult, asking who she thinks she is, since she's just a concubine's daughter. In a fast, aggressive move, he grabs her right by the clothes. Yanking the young lady closer in a threatening way, he glares at her with heavy disgust. With a furious glare and a terrifying aura, the girl stares right back and demands to know what he just said. Smirking like a clown, our MC asks if he somehow said something wrong. And that's where it gets crazy. He takes a brutal punch straight to the face, feeling the full force of that hit. Breaking down what happened, the girl's maid explains that even though it was an arranged marriage, for the sake of the Peng family, she always put up with all the rumors and teasing from young Master Jin. The servant desperately tries to calm her down, begging the lady to keep it together, but the girl is just shaking with rage. Shoved to the side, the maid can't stop her lady at all. With a deafening crash, our boy gets slammed hard into the ground. Hoisting a chair with a terrifying aura, the girl screams she doesn't care about the engagement and that it's officially over. Then, with the sound of splashing water, that memory fades out, bringing us straight back to the present. Back in reality, the girl figures he hasn't changed a bit, but out loud asks if the stuff he's holding isn't too heavy. Grabbing the basket of buns, our MC tells her not to sweat it and offers to help, telling his guard to keep watch while they take the rest to the maid. Utterly stunned, the lady just freezes up at his sudden change in behavior. Getting the feeling something shifted in him, she gets lost in thought trying to figure it out. However, her maid quickly brushes off the idea, saying there's no way that Trash actually changed and he must just be in a good mood. The girl just can't shake the feeling that something about him is entirely different now. Watching the group, a weird vibe just hangs heavy in the air. Out of nowhere, a loud yell shatters the silence, with someone asking what kind of joke this is, completely startling our boy and his guard. Complaining about the jump scare, our MC gets bombarded with questions about whether he and the buns are safe, until he tells the kid to pipe down. An older guy steps onto the scene, stating that yelling won't fix a thing and telling everyone to just chill out. Slamming his fist into the wall, the guy yells that time is up and asks if the other dude is ready to take the blame if they get caught. His curiosity piqued, our boy wonders what getting caught actually means in this situation. Under a tense silence, a young guy tries to register at the desk but gets stared down by the officials. The courtyard falls dead quiet, making the tension between the guy and the registration staff spike even higher. Looking back at the mess, our MC hears the echoes of the argument, where the guy begged to join while the staff shut him down, since even an open event rejects people with no ID. Annoyed by the scene, the guard asks if they're really gonna let the dude keep throwing a tantrum, especially with all the family warriors watching. Feeling the heavy glares from the three officials, the guy at the desk just stands frozen. One of the guards drops a hand on his shoulder, telling him the circus ends right here, but gripping the official's arm tight, the young guy refuses to back down. In a fast and completely unexpected move, he uses a throwing technique and tosses the guard right over his shoulder. Flying through the air, the official gets launched with some ridiculous force. The man scrambles up beyond furious, screaming and demanding to know what the heck the kid thinks he's doing. Still on the floor but glaring with pure determination, the kid says he just proved his strength and asks if he can join the dragon battle now. Watching the drama from afar, the fight drags on, with the officials yelling they can't let him in after that stunt, and the guy firing back that he already proved his worth. Unsure of what to do, the maid asks if they should step in, but the guard next to her gets hyped, thinking the guy is super badass for pulling that off. Our boy decides to stay out of it and just tells them to leave, but his guard asks if he's really gonna ignore this so-called young master. Turning his back, our boy states he doesn't want any more drama and that they can sort it out themselves. The head official yells at the top of his lungs, screaming that no matter what he does, rules are rules, and without a verified ID, entry is strictly banned. Firing back with anger, the guy claims his strength is all the proof he needs, but another official steps up saying that makes this an even bigger issue. Pushed to his limit, the dude just snaps and yells, demanding to know what the heck they want from him. And no one saw that coming. A booming voice echoes through the venue, calling out the officials for disrespecting the young master of the Peng family. Spinning around in pure shock, our boy can't believe what he just heard. Equally surprised, the girl and her maid also turn around to see who dropped that bomb. Arms crossed, this massive guy shows up, leaving everyone wondering what he just said, mind blown to realize they're dealing with the Peng family's young master. Oblivious to the heavy tension, our MC's little maid just skips along happily, humming about the steamed buns she scored. Amidst a massive snow-covered palace, a flashback from the past suddenly bubbles up. Spotting her brother outside in the freezing cold, the young lady walks up and asks what he's up to. The guy replies with a huge smile, saying that since it's freezing out, he's just warming up and roasting a sweet potato. But she cuts him off, stating she didn't ask about the fire but rather what he plans to do with that wooden plaque in his hand. Explaining that the sweet potato looked a bit raw and he was going to use the plaque as firewood, he suddenly takes a rock straight to the head. Furious, he yells, asking why she threw a rock at him, but the girl snaps back that he earned it, asking if he even knows what he's holding. Clearing things up, the lady explains that's the actual Ping family plaque, a gift the clan head gave him after he became the youngest master ever. He openly mocks the item's worth, joking it's just meant to make the fire burn hotter, and a split second later, his sister drop kicks him straight into the campfire. Scolding him hard, the young lady lectures that he really needs to start acting like his rank demands. The dude thinks about his role as the young master and just mutters a quiet agreement. Wearing a dead serious and disappointed look, his sister just stares him down in silence. She admits she sometimes has no clue what's going through his head, asking why he's so unhappy when his cracked talent earned him the young master title so early. Laughing at the question, the guy says she's blowing it out of proportion, and that he's really just feeling a tiny urge to ditch the family entirely. His sister throws out a suggestion, telling him to go take a walk outside to clear his head and then head back home. Just nodding along, the guy accepts the idea without putting up a fight. But in a note left behind, the message was short and straight to the point, heading out to have some fun. Crushing the paper with all her strength, her rage over the situation becomes crystal clear. 4 months later, the young lady vents to her maid that apparently her brother took go for a walk to mean vanish for a really long time. Interrupting the chat, the maid drops the news that she finally got an update on their request and asks where that brat is while the young master bites her nails in pure fury. The maid whispers the intel, saying she heard rumors her brother is hiding out in Shanxi, leaving the young lady wondering what the heck he's doing so far away. Back to the drama. The dude screams out of pure frustration, demanding to know why he can't get in when he already showed off exactly what they wanted. And screaming at the top of his lungs, he demands they let him enter the dragon battle. Trying to defuse the mess, the official asks for patience, but the young master snaps back that he's out of time and asks if he needs to whip out the dark nightblade to make them believe him. Her maid catches the name of that technique and explains it's a super secret martial art of the Pong clan, proving without a doubt he's the real young master. Determined to keep his hands clean, our MC figures he's got to bolt before he gets dragged into this massive headache. Realizing what's going down, one of the elders steps up and grabs the guy, noting that if he actually knows that move, they've got a huge problem on their hands. But catching everyone off guard, the old man smiles and says since he proved his strength, he's clear to join, leaving the other officials speechless. The young master throws up a formal salute showing his respect to the LP elder, introducing himself with pure pride. He claims he's Peng Yujin, young master of the Peng family, and calls it a huge honor to meet the great master Yan Yaquan. The elder just laughs off the formalities, noting it's been a hot minute since he heard that old nickname, and lets him in despite another official protesting his ID is still unverified. Doubling down on his call, the old man states there's zero doubt this kid is a son of the Peng family. The other official scans the guy up close and agrees, pointing out he looks exactly like the Peng family head and his bulky build is their trademark. Sarcastically, our MC mutters that the official should check his own build before running his mouth about others. Pointing out one final detail, the official says the black ring on his hand is more than enough proof of who he is. Our boy recognizes the ring on the spot, realizing it matches his sister's perfectly, and proving this dude is absolutely the real young master. Wearing a curious smile, the elder turns to the guy and asks for his real motive, since the dragon battle is a draft for Jin family sword fighters, making zero sense for a Peng heir to join. Peng Yujin doesn't even hesitate, yelling out that his hometown is just way too boring. Bursting into laughter, the elder absolutely loves that excuse, but asks if he even got his family's blessing, while our MC just thinks this dude is out of his mind. With a smug grin, the young master replies they would never sign off on it, so he just packed up and ran away from home. The elder just chuckles non-stop, getting a huge kick out of the story, as our boy seriously wonders if there's something wrong with this guy's head. Hyping up the young master's build, the old man asks his age, and hearing he's 23, praises him for being a pure prodigy, a true dragon of the Peng clan. Sneakily glancing over at our MC, the elder mutters that if the fool in his own house was even half that impressive. Whispering among themselves, our boys' guards wonder what the old man is even talking about, but our MC tells them to shut it, saying he couldn't care less anyway, and figures if this guy is truly Peng Yujin, he's definitely built different, because in no time at all, his reputation would skyrocket as the Blade Emperor, Peng Yushen. Confused by the whole thing, our MC wonders why his guard doesn't get the hype, and suddenly remembers there's another Peen family member roaming around. And this is where it gets good. The guy's sister comes sprinting in out of nowhere, screaming his name at the top of her lungs. Caught off guard by this sudden entrance, both the elder and the young master whip their heads around to see who's causing the ruckus. With absolutely zero time to react, the girl delivers a brutal dropkick straight to her brother's face. Sent flying by the impact, the guy gets launched directly into a brick wall, kicking up a massive cloud of dust. Radiating pure fury, the girl screams at her brother, calling him a complete maniac for running away with just a note right after taking over as the family head. In pure panic, the guy desperately begs her to just wait a second and hear him out. But shooting him a dead serious death glare, his sister just commands him to spit out whatever excuse he's got. Dripping in cold sweat, the young master just freezes up, paralyzed by pure fear. He lets out a pure shriek of terror and desperately begs for her to spare him. Getting absolutely bodied without mercy, the guy screams he's gonna die, and while our MC's guard wonders if they should step in, our boy says to ignore it since the Peng clan is built tough. Covered in bruises, the young master begs the elder to save him, while our boy figures this whole mess is exactly what it looks like, yet somehow way more complicated. Breaking up the assault, the old man grabs the girl's arm and tells her to chill before she actually kills him, but she snaps back, asking who the heck he is to butt into their family business. The girl glances up and turns ghost white the second she recognizes the Grandmaster of the Flaming Fist. Dropping into a respectful bow, she introduces herself as Peng Yaxi and apologizes for ruining his trip with her family drama, but the elder waves it off, saying he actually had a blast watching such an entertaining kid. Still apologizing for the mess, the young lady swears the Peng family will make it right, announcing they're heading out immediately to avoid any more chaos. But her brother refuses to leave, making her scream, asking if he wants another beatdown. Shooting her a dead serious glare, the guy asks if she thinks he's joking around. Caught off guard by his reaction, the girl is left completely speechless, just frozen in place. She demands to know why he's being so stubborn, and he replies that the Peng clan is just boring, figuring any other family would be way more fun. Desperately begging him to use his head, his sister reminds him he's already the young master. His logic is simple. He wants to have some fun before taking over, since the only other options are going crazy or kicking the bucket, and he's passing on both. Even though he hates the title, he admits that besides the two of them, the rest of the family are just useless bums riding the clan's coattails. Since she can't be the leader, he knows the spot is his eventually, so he took the role despite hating the whole idea. Whispering to the elder, our MC asks if he's actually letting the guy compete, figuring mixing these families is a bad idea, and the old man agrees it's a messy spot. The old man then throws out an offer to the young master, dropping a condition for him to join. Looking super defiant, the elder states that if the kid fights him and wins, he's in, leaving everyone absolutely shocked. Furious, the guy's sister thinks the whole thing is ridiculous, and even our boy wonders if the elder lost his mind. Laughing it off, the old guy sets up a challenge, a 10-move sparring match to pick the winner. The young master looks pretty confident, wondering to himself if that's really all it takes. Without missing a beat, the elder asks if he looks like he's joking, instantly changing the rules and ordering the girl to catch her brother. And that's where it gets crazy. The old guy drops the 10 moves and says the kid just has to land a single touch to win, unleashing a massive wave of energy. Dodging the strike with some insane speed, the young master barely even moves. He leaps high into the air, landing right above the elder, who just watches him with a smirk. Impressed by the kid's agility, the old man jokes about how impatient he is. With a deafening crash, the elder takes a clean hit, feeling the brutal impact of the young master's strike. The arena is completely packed with a screaming crowd, right as an announcer kicks off the highly anticipated event. Hype fills the whole venue as he calls out a duel between the two rising stars of the Jin family. On one side, wearing a confident smile, is the Scarlet Sword, Jin Jisei. Standing on the other side is the eldest son, Jin Yang-chan, asking himself why the heck he's sparring here, let alone against his own sister. Flashing back to the present, the elder gets blasted backward with an ear-piercing boom. A devastating impact slams him straight into the dirt, carving out a massive crater. Sliding through the rubble with a loud crash, the old man skids for several meters before finally stopping. Letting out a deep breath, he shakes off the heavy blow. He stands up looking victorious and casually declares he won, dropping everyone's jaws to the floor. Totally confused, our MC reminds him the deal was just to dodge, but the old guy asks if he actually pulled that off. Defending himself, the elder explains as he held back his strength just enough so the kid would wake up quickly. Telling our boy not to sweat it, the old man claims if the Pang family comes knocking, it's not his problem since he won't go down alone, making our MC beg him to just leave him out of it. Desperately trying to do damage control, our MC tells Yaxi the elder went rogue, but she snacks back that he better keep his mouth shut. She asks if that was the elder's real goal, explaining that stopping the fight prevented an even bigger mess. Laughing at the thought, the old guy denies it and admits he only did it for fun, leaving our boy wondering how he ever became an elder. Grabbing our MC, the little girl tells him to run away from the scary grandpa bear and hurry inside. Her eyes sparkling, the kid dramatically breaks down the whole fight, leaving our boy blown away by how well she tells a story. Praising the little kid, the elder mentions she's got a better eye for things than the fool does and offers her a gift. He pulls out this massive sweet bun, making the girl's jaw drop straight to the floor. Super happy, the kid claims she always liked Grandpa Bear, and the elder laughs saying he already knew, while our MC just stands there totally lost. Turning to our boy, the elder asks if he's gonna throw a fit just because he spoiled his maid and decides to hand him a gift too, but our MC turns it down, saying he hates sweets, and completely shocks the old man by challenging him to spar after the dragon battle wraps up. Fast forward a bit, and the two are facing off in the combat arena, standing on opposite sides and ready to clash. Calling out her brother, the girl asks how he plans to fight her without even holding a blade. Deep in thought, our boy wonders if he actually wielded a sword during this point in his life. He thinks back on his firewheel art, remembering it works with tons of weapons. Those swords and fists are the most practical. Continuing his internal train of thought, he reveals he later figured out fists suited him way better, which is why he dropped the blade, and asks out loud if that seems weird. Shrugging it off, his sister replies that she honestly doesn't care if he uses a sword or his bare hands, making our MC realize her blunt personality is a huge lifesaver right now. Flashing a wicked smirk, the girl admits she feels incredibly grateful that a chance like this just fell into her lap. Completely lost, our boy asks what kind of opportunity she's talking about, and she confirms it with some highly suspicious hype. Her eyes looking terrifyingly excited, she reveals it's her perfect excuse to legally beat down her brother in front of a massive crowd. Realizing the trap the elder dragged him into, our MC can only curse his luck inside his head. He yells at the old guy, demanding to know why the heck he has to spar against his own sister, but the elder calmly tells him to stop shouting. Playing the victim, the elder claims he's hurt since this is a sacred Jin family ceremony, and calling it boring just makes things look bad. Muttering in his head, our boy calls the old man a sly fox, figuring he just set this up for laughs and deciding to throw the match halfway, until the elder seemingly reads his mind and threatens him. With a contagious laugh, the elder is having the time of his life in the background, watching young Master Peng get bodied by his sister. Staring the old guy down, our boy asks if he seriously wants to see him get completely thrashed in front of everybody that badly. The elder shoots him a piercing glare and calls him by his name, Yang Chen. Then he drops a question that completely catches him off guard, asking if he ever actually thought about winning. Chewing on that thought, our boy figures this respawn is a one-time deal he can't waste, and since fighting his sister never happened in his past life, he has no plans to burn his energy on it now. But checking out his sister from across the ring, our MC realizes there's something else going on. Looking at him with pure disgust, the girl admits she hates how her brother can easily become the family head just because he was born a guy. A powerful red aura flares up around her, showing off her absolute determination. Right at the starting signal, the arena explodes into a massive dust cloud from their raw power. Rushing forward with insane speed, the girl charges straight at her opponent. Her eyes locked in and fists clenched, she readies her very first strike. Swinging her wooden sword, the young lady unleashes a super heavy slash. However, our boy easily ducks under the attack with a crazy fast dodge. Slipping past by a hair, he completely avoids her strike, leaving the girl totally stunned. Mind blown, the lady can't believe a 2-star fighter just dodged her blade, considering she's already at the 3-star level. He instantly reads the look on his sister's face, admitting to himself that even with early timing, that narrow dodge left him completely winded. Taking this as proof that his current stats are lacking, he wonders how to handle the rest of the fight, debating if he should just take a punch and get knocked out of bounds. The problem is, every single swing is lethal, making him doubt he'd survive a clean hit, right as his sister taunts him for being the exact same as always. Glaring at him, she claims all he does is run away, while the ground beneath them literally starts cracking. She grips his arm insanely tight, trapping him in place so he can't bolt. Loading up another sword strike, she goes in for a second attack. Somehow, he breaks free just in time, barely dodging the lethal hit. By ripping his own sleeve in a split second, he manages to escape her iron grip, taunting his sister back. Our boy points out her strikes are leaking pure killer intent, which makes them easier to read, telling her to chill out a bit. He's secretly blown away by her strength, realizing her bloodlust is so heavy that a wooden sword tore his clothes like a real blade. Her voice full of frustration, the young lady admits she could barely accept never becoming the family head just because she's a woman, but grinded her heart out anyway. And she keeps going, snapping that a piece of trash like him can just shove her aside and take the top spot purely for being a guy. Asking if he could handle being in her shoes, the girl charges at him with her sword, completely engulfed in flames. Our boy realizes things just got seriously dangerous the second he spots that crazy energy on the blade. Fully aware her power level just spiked way past 3 stars, he braces himself for the impact. With a blazing spin attack, his sister goes all out, but our MC actually manages to block it. Pissed off, she screams that all he does is dodge, unleashing a rapid-fire combo on him. She completely overwhelms him, talking trash about how he's not even fighting back. Landing a super heavy kick, she calls him out for having zero talent and never putting in the work. And gearing up for one final strike, she yells that if he just wants to live a pathetic life, shooting him a look of pure hatred. She says he might as well just disappear. Our boy just stares right back, watching her in complete silence. The girl charges in with her fiery blade, attacking with absolutely everything she's got. But a spark lights up in his eyes, showing his own determination fully igniting. Screaming for him to vanish just like his mother did, she drops a lethal strike. A look of pure shock hits his sister's face, having zero clue what just happened. And this is where it gets good. Our boy literally catches the flaming blade with his bare hand. As the smoke clears, he stares her down, keeping an iron grip on the sword. His eyes glowing bright red, he glares right back at her and just asks, "What was that?" Looking back, our MC sister was the most cracked fighter ever, a straight-up genius who hit the sword phoenix rank at 17 and was meant to run the clan, but got blocked purely for being a girl. Explaining that the concubines kid our boy became the boss, the young lady admits she actually never hated him. She goes on to say that even though they're half-siblings, his mom treated her super well and she liked her a lot, so his existence was never an issue. But everything flipped upside down when an incident hit, and one random day his mom just vanished without a trace. Right after that, their dad ordered everyone to drop the search, so nobody even bothered looking for her. From that moment on, our MC's words and actions toward everybody just got super harsh and completely ruthless, reaching the point where rumors spread about him bothering the pretty maids. Yet despite all that, he was still set to be the next leader since the title always goes to the guys. Because of that, she hated everything, since no matter how cracked she was, or how hard she grinded, she couldn't get what her brother had while he just wanted to drink and mess around. Racking up her rant with pure hatred for him, our boy just stands there holding the blade and asks, "What?" Suddenly, a girl in the crowd feels this massive, super dangerous aura creeping out of the combat arena. Sensing the incoming threat, the young lady quickly leaps back to cover herself. And in a flash, she throws her fist up to block the heavy impact flying right at her. By a single hair, she manages to parry a punch that came swinging straight for her face. Utterly stunned by what just went down, the girl is left completely speechless. Asking if the other girl's name is Peng Hyo Seo, she notes they're the same age, but the opponent's martial arts are way more refined, figuring she can't use her bloodline as an excuse anymore, though her maid hypes her up saying she's already top tier. Super curious about the chat happening in the ring, the lady asks her maid if she can hear them, but the attendant says, probably not, leaving the girl totally confused. Breaking down the situation, the servant reveals the second elder used his internal energy to mute their voices, which is why nobody can hear a thing. She then turns to the guy with the swollen face, begging him not to walk around claiming the Peng family name, and when he asks if she's ashamed of him, she orders him to hide until the swelling goes down, which he agrees to. Meanwhile, out in the crowd, some dude asks if the person fighting is Jian Feng's sibling, and his buddy confirms it, praising her crazy 3-star strength, fluid combat style, and heavy internal energy. Correcting his friend, the guy clarifies he wasn't talking about her, but actually the dude dodging every single strike, asking if that's Jian Feng's brother and leaving the other guy feeling super awkward. To answer that question, the maid confirms that both fighters in the arena are actually Jian Feng's siblings, making the whole situation finally click for the young lady. Flashing a wicked smirk, the guy next to them figures Jian Feng clearly isn't the only cracked fighter in the PAN clan. He shoots a sneaky side-eye at the girl, looking like he's already cooking up some kind of scheme. And keeping that train of thought, he decides he definitely needs to score some fun before officially taking over as the family head. Watching the match, the lady figures once her brother takes the throne, she won't ever have to deal deal with that kind of look again. Right as she concludes, the fight is officially over. Back down in the ring, our MC's sister desperately realizes she needs to put some heavy distance between them. Swinging her blazing blade, she fully believes that if she can just force one opening, the win is completely hers. And with a sharp glint in her eyes, she screams in her head that the chance to completely flip this match is right in the palm of her hands. Taking a second to process everything, our boy realizes he actually gets exactly where his sister is coming from. For that exact reason, he figures he honestly doesn't mind being hated since he's always lived like that, and despite her harsh words, he fully understands her vibe. He drops a quick apology in his head, hoping that because he gets her struggle, she'll forgive him for the insane move he's about to pull. Right at that moment, this absolute monsters of an energy starts swirling around his hand while he tightly grips her flaming blade. Spotting that raw power building up, the girl's eyes go wide in pure dread, the glow of the incoming blast reflecting right in her pupils. Instantly, a massive shockwave erupts right where his bare hand is clamping down on her sword. Launched violently through the air by the blast, the young lady gets completely bodied by the sheer power of his strike. And just like that, she crashes down into the dirt, fully defeated, while our MC is left standing tall. With the dust settling, the ref officially ends the match and calls the big win for Peng Yang-chan. Chilling by himself a little while later, our boy realizes that whole stunt just turned into a massive headache. He heavily regrets the outcome, knowing taking her down was never the plan, and stresses over how his measly 2-star energy still made her bleed and pass out, really hoping she recovers okay. Flashing back to his sister's furious face, her harsh words keep echoing in his head, telling him it would be way better if he just vanished for good. Outside in the quiet, our MC just sits there reflecting on every single crazy thing that went down during the spar. Rushing right over to him, his 2 guards finally track him down, nervously calling out for their young master. Visibly stressed, the maid asks if he's okay or took any damage, while the other guard wants the scoop on the vibe inside and if the crowd has finally chilled out. Breaking down the madness, the guard explains the arena turned into pure chaos since everyone expected our boy to get floored, only for him to actually win, completely shocking some girl in the crowd that a known bully just clapped the family's rising star. He keeps going, adding that the second elder had to step in with a closing speech just to calm the hype, which makes our MC instantly jump up, declaring he needs to bolt before running into that crazy old guy again. Suddenly, the maid notices his hand is dripping blood and staring at the fresh wound. Our boy realizes it's hard proof he still hasn't mastered his internal energy at all. Stepping up to help, the girl grabs a bandage to wrap his hand, and even when he brushes it off as a scratch, she insists there's no way she's leaving it like that. He grabs the wrap and clumsily tries to patch himself up, wondering if this is how you actually do it, before quickly realizing he's totally messing it up. But wearing a super sad look, the young lady gently takes his hand and apologizes for doing a bad job, saying Sealer would have done it way better and begging him to stop getting hurt. Out of nowhere, some guy walks up shouting that he also doesn't want young Master Peng getting hurt, calling him out for having absolutely zero situational awareness. Introducing himself to the group, the newcomer leaves our MC completely frozen, right as the guy's sister scolds him for actually addressing our boy by that ridiculous name. Without missing a beat, the dude throws an arm over our MC's shoulder, making him visibly cringe, while the guy's blushing sister begs to just leave, but he casually apologizes and stays put. Laughing at the awkwardness, the guy points out how weird their dynamic is since our boy's sister dumped his brother, joking that they should just draft a brand new marriage contract right here, and sending his own sister into a full panic. Our MC straight up asks what his actual deal is, and the dude claims it's just a prime chance to buddy up with heavy hitters, telling our boy to call him Brother Peng from now on, while his sister practically begs him to shut up. The guy just cracks up, admitting he thought Jian Feng was the only real monster in their family, but was completely mind-blown to find out they were hiding someone this cracked, leaving our MC wondering why this dude is suddenly acting like his best bro. Shifting the topic, our boy catches him dropping the name Peng Hyoseo and immediately asks if he actually knows his sister. Instantly, the dude flashes a huge grin and claims they're super tight, though secretly he admits he has zero clue what she actually thinks of him, making our MC easily figure out they aren't really close at all. Still, the guy stubbornly insists they really bonded and nudges him asking, "Ain't that right, brother?" before laughing it off, saying it's getting late, and officially calling it a night. Having absolutely no idea what just happened, our MC just stands there looking completely lost. Beside him, the maid stays completely silent, just watching the chaotic group slowly fade away into the dark night. Bringing up the past, the maid casually mentions the exact day that arranged marriage got wrecked, prompting our boy to ask if she still has beef over it. With this super embarrassed look, the girl confesses she completely overreacted that day. Since she didn't just flip the table, she literally launched a whole chair at his head, and dropping the tough act, he bows her her head and drops a genuinely sincere apology for the whole mess. Looking back on it, our boy admits he's the one who sparked the fire by calling her a concubine's kid, admitting his toxic childish stunts totally earned him a beatdown, so she really doesn't owe him any apologies. She lifts her head, and hearing him say that brings this super warm, gentle smile straight to her face. And looking insanely relieved and happy, she just softly replies that everything is perfectly fine now. As she turns to walk away, the girl reminds him not to lose that item her brother handed over, leaving our MC super confused as he starts patting down his pockets. Pulling this random wooden plaque out from his jacket, he seriously wonders what the heck he's even holding. The young lady pauses in her tracks for just a second, throwing him one final, genuine goodbye, and shooting him one last glance. She tells him to stay safe out there before completely fading into the distance. Watching her walk away, our boy just stands there in total silence, soaking in the quiet night. His guards finally call out that it's time to head back, and he nods, his mind still racing over everything that went down, that weirdly nice scent, and the ridiculous strength of that random guy. Rolling through the dead of night, our MC's carriage cruises down this pitch-black road completely surrounded by dense woods. Inside the ride, one of the maids is passed out cold on the other shoulder, while she softly whispers her name, Soul. Running through the latest events in his head, our boy realizes that no matter how hard he tries, he has zero memory of fighting his sister in his past life, let alone actually catching a massive win against her. Ever since Sealer officially became his maid, he's noticed the timeline heavily shifting away from the script he lived through before, and he seriously wonders if just showing her that tiny bit of kindness was enough to trigger a massive butterfly effect in the timeline. Making up his mind, he decides that the second they get back home, he needs to stop dragging his feet and start making serious moves to hit his goals. With this dead serious glare, his new resolve flashes through his eyes like pure lightning. Out of nowhere, he screams at his guard Wu Yan to check the immortal demon talisman, totally throwing the guy off. Digging the item out, the guard reports absolutely zero reaction, explaining the charm auto-glows if a demonic gate spawns nearby, so they're totally safe. But this is where it gets good. The exact second he tells our MC to chill, the talisman in his hand lights up like a massive flare. Spotting that blinding glow, the guard instantly screams at the driver to slam the brakes. He calls out a confirmed demonic gate, ordering everyone to gear up for a raid, and making the young master's safety their absolute top priority. Except our MC just casually steps up right beside him, completely spooking the guard, who begs him to stay back because it's way too dangerous. Doubling down on how critical things are, the guard swears he'll take whatever punishment later, but our boy just tells him to shut his mouth. Our MC points straight ahead and tells him to just look at the road, where this glowing green portal is literally tearing right through the air. As he points out the gate is greened, the massive spatial rift starts crackling heavily with this wild, unstable energy. A second later, an entire pack of multi-headed demonic hounds with glowing red eyes bursts violently right out of the gate. Running the stats in his head, our boy knows green means it's the lowest threat level, so even if it's annoying, he just clenches his fist as it lights up with a bright orange aura. With a massive blast of fire and dirt, he charges in, completely hyped and convinced he can easily wipe the floor with these things. And locking his eyes on the targets, he instantly recalls the one fatal weak spot every single demonic beast shares. Exposing the monster's ultimate flaw, our boy explains it all comes down to their demonic stone. He breaks it down, saying that stone acts just like a core for these beasts, meaning if you rip it out, they instantly drop dead. Rushing the closest hound, our MC plunges his bare hand straight into its chest, figuring this raid is in the bag once he grabs that core. But suddenly, gasping for air, he realizes his mana tank is sitting at absolute zero, as spamming that fire wheel art completely drained his stamina. Still, with his life on the line, he stares down the rest of the pack, knowing he has no choice but to force out his skill one more time. Hearing his guard scream in pure panic, our MC quickly snaps his head around. Right at that exact second, one of his escorts leaps directly in front of him, tanking the beast's incoming strike like an absolute boss. Moving at crack speeds, the guard unleashes a crazy flurry of sword strikes, literally dicing the massive monster into tiny pieces. Completely mind-blown by the assist, our boy's jaw just hits the floor after watching that insane flex of power. Seeing the guard standing over the monster's carcass, our MC wonders where all that strength came from. Worried, the guy turns around asking if he's okay, and our boy thanks him, admitting he's only alive because of him. The servant looks around and mentions the fight ended fast, pointing out they got lucky running into just a few bottom-tier beasts. But shifting his tone, he scolds him, asking what the heck he was doing out there in danger and what would happen if things went south. Flashing a smile with his hand glowing purple, our MC says all that matters is it's handled, though the guard secretly thinks that's not how this works. Suddenly, his expression completely flips as as he feels something super weird coursing through his body. Right in the middle of the lecture, the guard tells him to hide next time since he's the young master. But before finishing, our boy screams in agony and hits the dirt. Down on his knees, our MC writhes in pure agony, while his escorts rush over in a panic, yelling and asking what's wrong. Cursing himself through the pain, our kid wonders what the heck is going down and why this feeling of doom is hitting him right now. His eyes flash into bright purple. He realizes this is the heavenly demon's skill, a martial art that actually absorbs demonic energy. And with this purple energy sphere pulsing in his palm, it clicks that he accidentally triggered the demonic cult's absorption technique. Caught in a deeply disturbing vision, a guy completely covered in blood gets wrapped up in this dark, chaotic purple aura. On his knees and heavily wounded, the dude begs to know why this is happening to him. Surrounded by pure destruction and dozens of fallen bodies, a voice screams out in desperation, asking what they did wrong to deserve this brutal treatment. Right in front of the fallen warrior, a mysterious figure asks the Plum Blossom Sword Saint if those are his final words, right as the guy's arm decays into bare bone. Shaking uncontrollably, the fighter can barely even react to his opponent's crushing presence. The shadowy figure just points and stares him down, while the broken man struggles to call out for his master. Horrified by the sight, all the survivors nearby scream their master's name together in pure terror. Out of a dark portal, this massive dragon spawns, and the mysterious figure casually remarks that the Plum Blossom wasn't actually half bad. Leaping up with some cracked agility, the man lands right on top of the colossal beast's head, and dropping back down smoothly, he hits the ground, ready to finish exactly what he started. Now standing before two survivors, he watches them gasping for air and kneeling before his OP strength. Dripping with disdain, the guy claims they didn't even come close to satisfying him, but at least offered a tiny bit of fun. He then grants them permission to lift their heads as a sphere of dark energy charges up right in his palm. Snapping violently back to reality, our MC freaks out seeing his arm completely wrapped in orange flames. Completely lost, he stares down at his hand, trying to process what's even going on with his body. He questions if his art actually purified that dark energy, realizing it feels like he's being devoured, something that never once happened in his past life. Terrified by his condition, his escorts scream in pure panic, calling out for the young master. Crowding around him, one of the guards asks if he's alright, and our boy answers while barely catching his breath. To cover it up, our MC insists it's no big deal, and blames it on leftover injuries from sparring his sister, waving off the guard who wants to fetch a doctor. Deep in thought, he figures it's way safer to hide the fact he absorbed demonic energy, since letting anyone know would bring zero benefits. Touching our MC's face, one of the maids asks if he's badly hurt, but he brushes it off, asking if he really looks that terrible right now. With a highly concerned look, the girl says his face just seems off, prompting our boy to ask what she even means by that. Right then, the other maid yanks her back, scolding her for treating the young master like that. But the girl defends herself, saying she was just worried, leading the guard to offer to find a doc. Rejecting the help, our boy claims it's nothing serious and a solid night's sleep will fix it, ordering everyone to pack up and roll out, which the guard reluctantly agrees to. All geared up for the trip, our MC orders them to collect the beast drops and head out, joking with the maid about her drooling in her sleep, which she denies, while he secretly realizes the demonic energy is completely gone from his body, wondering if his art did that. Staring down at the demonic stone, he notices it totally lost its color, realizing all the raw power got fully sucked dry. The rock shatters in his grip as our boy decides he seriously needs to speed up his timeline from here on out. Arriving at a bustling market, a voice suddenly calls out for the young master. A quick pan reveals some shiny honey cookies, showing off the delicious yakwa treats. Her eyes sparkling with pure joy, the maid is totally hypnotized by the vendor showing off his sweets. Annoyed, the girl spins around and asks what his deal is, demanding to know why he even brought her if he wasn't gonna buy her the snacks. Firing back, our boy points out he only said he was hitting the market and she's the one who clung to him, begging to tag along. With an unamused expression, our MC just side-eyes her, completely out of patience. Touching the exchange, the guard walks up and asks the young master why they even came out here. And picking up the lecture, he mentions that after the last ambush and the dragon gathering wrapping up, he really should have stayed home to rest. Hiding behind some sacks, the maid asks if he's hunting for something specific, offering to help him look. Internally, our MC knows she just wants to pitch in, but figures it's definitely not the time to get her involved yet. Keeping a straight face, he just keeps walking right through the busy market. He stops dead in his tracks, finally spotting exactly what he was searching for. Pointing down an alley, our boy says it looks like the right way, leaving the guard super confused as he asks what he means and what's even down there. Without missing a beat, our MC orders the maid to head back while the guard follows him, telling her to let everyone know he'll be home late. Stuttering, the girl tries to argue back, bringing up strict orders from her dad, but to win her over, our boy bribes her with 10 yakwa cookies if she just turns around right now. Her face lighting up instantly, the kid completely caves when he throws some steamed buns into the deal too. Flashing a smile, he holds his hand out and promises it's absolutely no problem. The little girl reaches right back with a dead serious look, officially accepting the bribe. And shaking on it, the two seal the deal with huge grins on their faces. Calling the guard over, the guy asks where they're even headed, but our MC just says he'll see when they get there, leaving the maid in the dust. So just like that, the two walk down this super narrow, empty city alleyway together. Mentioning the spot should be close, our boy hears the guard warn him this zone is sketchy, but he casually replies he already knows. Right outside a building, our kid finally announces he tracked down exactly what he needed. Standing in front of this run-down, shady-looking structure, the whole vibe just screams bad news. Relieved to actually find it, our MC thinks he's stressed over nothing, but the guard demands to know why the heck they came to a dump like this, prompting the kid to ask if it really seems that weird. Giving a brutally honest answer, the escort says, yeah, not because of how it looks, but because of the super creepy vibe it gives off, leading our boy to praise his solid instincts. They push the door open and step straight into the dark, highly suspicious joint. Inside, two tough-looking dudes wonder how a brat ended up in there, joking he must be lost, but noting the guy behind him definitely looks like a bodyguard. Being watched by a whole crew of thugs, the guys debate what to do and if they should teach these two intruders a harsh lesson. Bracing for the worst, the guard drops his hand right onto his sword hilt, completely ready to brawl. One of the thugs walks over holding a candle, immediately addressing the newcomers. And rocking a deeply threatening vibe, the guy states this ain't a friendly spot and demands to know what their business is. Flashing a confident smirk, our boy casually replies he's obviously here as a customer. Triggered by the kid's pure nerve, the guy threatens him, asking if he needs to rip out his tongue to teach him some manners. Furious over the insult, the guard screams at the dude to shut his mouth, but our MC steps in, telling him to chill out. Addressing the whole room, our boy says they should already know who he is, asking if they're terrified the Peng family will wipe out this joint, to which a guy replies they have no reason to start a war since that helps nobody. And flashing a provoking grin, our MC orders them to fetch the branch head before he does something they'll seriously regret. Caught off guard by the demand, the guy just repeats, "Branch head?" From the back of the room, another dude scoffs that he has no clue where the brat gets all that arrogance, but he clearly has zero manners. Staring down the mob of thugs, our MC and his guard quickly find themselves surrounded on all sides. With a mocking smile, our boy fires right back, pointing out they don't exactly look like the polite type either. Laughing at the kid's comeback, the man actually seems to enjoy his crazy nerve, but his eyes turning ice cold, he simply gives his crew the order to attack. In a flash, all the goons charge right at the duo, drawing their blades and completely ready for a bloodbath. Stopping his escort from drawing his weapon, our MC orders him to freeze. The guard instantly tenses up as he watches the whole crew closing in on them. With absolutely cracked speed, the servant strikes, slicing through every opponent before they can even blink, leaving our MC without a single scratch. Completely mind-blown by the massacre, one of the guys starts sweating bullets at the sheer skill of the guard. Surrounded by a pile of bodies, our MC and his escort now stare down the few thugs left standing. Absolutely furious, the crew's leader gets super triggered by this wild turn of events. Smiling, our MC figures the Peng family brat would obviously have a monster of a guard, and he definitely can't bring a guy like that to meet the branch boss. Desperate for a way out, the leader asks himself what the heck his next move should be. Right then, one of his goons steps up, claiming he's got a message from the boss, leaving the leader shook and stressed that word already reached the top. Asking what the boss said, the guy waits nervously for the answer. Our MC watches the drama from a few steps back, realizing something seriously shady is going down. Suspecting they're plotting something dirty, our boy figures there's only one way out of this. And that's where it gets crazy. He just orders his servant to wipe them all out, and the guard simply replies, "Yes, kid." But before they can even make a move, a voice orders everyone to sheathe their blades. Turning around, they spot a much more polished-looking guy who announces the branch boss wants an audience with them. His face dead serious, our boy just mutters a quiet "sk sk," stating it would have been way easier if they just did that from the start. Our MC tells his guard to put the sword away, and the guy quickly obeys. Seeing all the defeated goons drop to their knees, the guy calls out to the young master, and our boy tells them to hurry up. Totally lost, the guard asks what's going on, and our MC just brushes it off, saying he meant to visit the Swindler sect but had a tiny snag on the way. He breaks it down, explaining the Swindler sect earned their spot among the 9 factions thanks to their cracked intel network, but since they play the good guys, they dodge any messy business. And since the sect would definitely struggle to handle what he needs, our boy decided to look somewhere else. Wrapping up his thought, he states that if the Swindler sect is the #1 intel hub for the righteous side, then for the dark side, this joint is the ultimate heavyweight. Right in front of this massive gate, he reveals they actually came to the Haitian gate. Walking up the steps, the duo finally reaches their actual destination. At the entrance, a guy pulls the door open and welcomes them inside. The guy introduces himself as the branch boss and apologizes for the rough welcome, explaining they overreacted because they never expected such a VIP. Cutting the chat short, our boy tells him to drop the apologies, just wanting to know if they'll take the commission or not, right before taking a seat. So the boss asks why someone from a high-tier noble family would seek out some small unknown faction instead of hitting up the swindlers. Giving a straight answer, our MC explains the swindlers can't handle his request, but the Haitian gate can, asking why they keep double-checking this fact. With an apology for the hassle, the guy defends himself saying they gotta play it safe, since our boy is from the Pang clan, asking for his understanding, already losing his patience. The kid says he gets it, and asks one last time if they're gonna take the job. Flashing a smile, the boss claims the Haitian gate never turns down a request as long as the client can pay the price, making our boy think, guess that's a yes then. He slides a paper onto the table, revealing he's trying to track down a specific person, a kid who just turned 10 years old. Checking out the paper, the guy looks pretty deep in thought over the request. Out of nowhere, the boss changes his mind, apologizing and saying he's got to take back his words since they can't actually accept this job. He clears things up, revealing the previous client wasn't looking for the kid, but actually the whereabouts of their guardian, begging for forgiveness. Rocking a super threatening smile, our MC asks if they'd still say no, even if the reward was the title of Haitian Gate Master. Instantly, the guard right next to our boy starts drawing his blade. With a swift motion, the steel starts sliding right out of its scabbard. Pulling the weapon further, the sharp sound of metal already echoes through the room. Almost fully drawn, the sword gleams brightly in the dark space. While all the surrounding goons gear up for a brawl too, our boy just watches the scene calmly with his arms crossed. That's where it gets crazy. A heavy flashlights up the joint, signaling this whole mess is about to pop off. Blocking multiple blades with his own, the guard calls out the boss. Didn't you say you wouldn't play rough with us anymore? His blue eyes glowing in the shadows, the branch boss ignores the question, only wanting to know how our boy found out about him. Shrugging off the heavy tension, our MC states he didn't come to chat, and all that matters is they both hold intel the other side needs. Still highly suspicious, the guy asks if he can actually prove that info is legit. Tapping his fingers on the table with a smirk, our boy replies that's something he'll have to figure out for himself. The boss weighs his options, debating whether to take the job or if it's better suited for the swindler sect. Pushing the guy into a corner, our MC says if he doesn't want it, that's fine. He'll just head up the swindlers and maybe even leak some details about the Haitian Gate Master if he has to. Left with zero options, the boss finally caves and says he's willing to take the commission. Our boy loves that answer, asking how long he thinks the job will take. Replying that a safe guess would be around 3 months, our MC nods and calls it a deal, already getting up to leave. On his way out, he drops a heads up that once they track the target down, they'll meet up to swap the intel. Hidden under a cloak, the kid looks deep in thought about the deal he just locked in. Now all alone in the room, the boss repeats the intel he just got to himself, MA mountain range, and suddenly it hits him like a truck, looking visibly shocked as he realizes the heavy weight of that leak. From the other side of the door, our MC calls out that what he left behind is the upfront payment. The branch boss just stays seated in the empty room trying to process everything that happened. Asked by his subordinate if he actually buys what the kid said, the boss replies that the fact he even knows about the Gate Master's disappearance forces him to believe it. Thinking over the kid's real motives, he figures that judging by his bodyguard's cracked strength, our MC probably saw their ambush coming from a mile away. He keeps putting the pieces together, concluding there's no way a kid that young scored that intel solo, meaning he's gotta be tied to the Pang family head. Feeling entirely backed into a corner, the guy grips his clothes tight, super frustrated by the whole mess. With a quick tug at the neck, the branch boss peels off a skin mask to reveal their true identity, showing he's actually a woman. Watching this, her subordinate asks if it's cool to just rip that off while fixing his own outfit. She complains about how stuffy it was, pointing out nobody is watching anyway as she lets him keep talking. Breaking down the situation, the woman reveals that because of how the Haitian gate works, the members have zero respect or trust for the master, which is why he has to hide from the guys hunting him. Her blue eyes flash for a split second in the dim light as she shoots a freezing cold glare. Shutting her eyes right after, she seems to zone out, focusing on some distant memory. In this super dark flashback, a bulky guy is shown locked up in a cell while the word father echoes through her head. Meanwhile outside, our boy and his guard finally walk away from the sketchy joint. Throwing a sneaky glance over his shoulder, he checks to make sure nobody's tailing them. Our MC breathes a heavy sigh of relief, thinking to himself that was a seriously close call. Going over what just happened, he admits he almost had to resort to throwing hands. But luckily their intel network came through, and from what he remembers, the original lore says the Haitian Gate Master got locked up in the Dark Knight Palace for over 5 years, which sparked a massive war between the factions. Then, a surprise raid by the Martial Alliance entirely crushed the palace, officially ending the war. During the chaos, though, the Haitian Gate Master ended up dying, and his faction basically got wiped off the map. But even knowing all that lore, our boy is kicking himself for not knowing the exact location of the Dark Knight Palace. Thinking about how lucky he got, he feels relieved he handled the mess with barely any intel, and since their branch happens to be in Shaanxi, it let him meet the boss face to face. Even though he finds this whole method super annoying, he doubles down on his resolve, knowing he has to find that kid no matter what. In a quick flashback, a guy who took over as the demonic cult leader at a super young age is shown chilling on his throne. Known as the cult's mastermind, Zhuge Huo, or the Heavenly Wolf's Fang, is our MC's real target, as he thinks to himself, I want to track him down and then end him. Looking back, he knows that dude's crack strategies cost massive headaches even for Wei Soqin, and if left unchecked, he'll turn into a core pillar of the demonic cult's power. The guard calls out to the young master, shifting the topic by mentioning he has no clue who they're even hunting, and he goes on to say that if the search takes 3 months, they won't hear back until summer, making our MC grumble that the Haitian Gate isn't as OP as everyone hypes them up to be. Repeating to himself that he's gotta wait all the way until summer to find his target, our boy suddenly has a massive epiphany. With a sharp click of his tongue, he stops in his tracks and questions something he entirely missed. Turning to his guard, he wonders out loud why the heck he didn't think of this earlier. A crucial detail hits him. He realizes the Junchan family treasure, run by the First Merchant Guild, was discovered right around this exact time. Picturing that massive fortune, he knows the place is loaded with loot, but the absolute most important prize in there are the ultra-rare spirit pills. He recalls the insane power packed in those pills, realizing that whoever pops them to break through to a higher realm will eventually turn into a demon, becoming a massive asset for the heavenly demon later on. Stressed about the whole mess, our MC figures he needs to handle the Zhuge problem. But that treasure is super urgent too, except it's stashed in Sichuan, which is way too far. Feeling entirely out of options, he concludes there isn't much he can do right now. A voice inside his head tempts him to just give up, since there's no way he can casually trek to Sichuan to dig up a hidden stash, figuring maybe it's better to just grab a snack and head home. Right at that exact moment, the mate he ditched earlier pops out of nowhere and asks what he just said. With a brand new idea lighting up his brain, our boy asks if she'd be down to stick with him. He boldly promises that he's gonna make her way happier, realizing the perfect fix to his problem just walked right up to him. Shouting at the top of his lungs, this bulky old man with a white beard yells, "I told you!" Another old guy holding a cane points over and laughs at the whole thing, joking, "Aren't there fallen leaves right in front of you? Ha ha ha." Still dying of laughter, the bulky guy points out that young Chan got him worried over nothing, dragging him all the way out here just to find out the big issue with some old servant. Complaining about getting roasted, the other old dude tells him to stop laughing and actually give him something to do. The buff old man grips his broom tight, demanding to know what this Pei Lung guy is even up to. Defending himself, Pei Lung says he's just pitching in since the senior ordered him to play the role of a servant, so the old guy tells him to sweep, but since his broom broke, he tells Pei Lung to use his own hair, leaving him wondering if that was a joke. He picks up a broken stick from the dirt, looking deeply lost in thought. Walking past his buddy, he mentions Pei Lun shouldn't have traveled this far just for the Pei family kid, but quickly corrects himself, admitting that's probably exactly why he came. The bulky dude turns his head, asking if the senior felt the exact same thing. Looking back, he points out that just 3 months ago, the kid was a total coward who couldn't even survive the most basic training. But now, the brat didn't just surpass his older sister, he completely stabilized his internal firewheel energy. With a dead serious look, he concludes that this kind of cracked talent obviously can't be ignored. Sipping some tea, Palin mentions he's never seen anybody level up that fast in his entire life. And rocking a mysterious vibe, he swears that kid is definitely hiding something special. Chatting in the courtyard, they note that if the elder finds out, he won't let it slide and might already be making moves, prompting the old guy to ask where the kid is right now. The other guy stares up at the sky, replying that with so many eyes on him, he probably won't cause any massive trouble. Caught way off guard by the sudden offer, the maid asks what he just said. Repeating his question with total confidence, our MC wants to know if she's down to roll with him. This is where it gets good, declaring it with pure passion. The kid promises he's gonna make her way happier. In a super cute panel, a chibi version of the girl introduces herself as Seoler and asks everyone to pay attention to her. With a peace sign, the little kid offers to break down exactly what's going on for the crowd. She mentions having a dream last night, admitting it wasn't a fun experience at all. In her sleep, she ended up hurting a bunch of people, crying about how her dad forced her to strike others down, even though he knows she hates swords. Desperately trying to stop, she somehow crashed into a house and hurt even more folks, right until this uncle she found inside dropped a heavy line. Recalling the guy's creepy smile, she remembers him saying their plan was just one step away from working. Shocked by the memory, the girl just gasps "you" as the image of a brutal attack flashes through her head. Trapped in that terrifying flashback, she sees herself getting stabbed, her eyes wide with pure panic. With tears already welling up, a heavy wave of guilt completely takes over her face. She squeezes her eyes shut, only able to whisper a soft apology. As the tears fall, she begs for forgiveness one more time, calling out Cheon's name. Racking up the story, she explains she finally woke up terrified from that awful nightmare. Spooked and just wanting to see the young master, she took her older sister's advice and bolted straight to the training grounds. But showing up earlier than expected, she didn't run into the young master at all, finding someone else entirely. Totally confused, she mentions the guy promised to make her happy, but she already feels super happy sticking by her master. Right as that exact second, the young master showed up, and seeing the whole mess unfold, he threw them a seriously sour look. Back in the present, the kid hides right behind our MC, who stares the other dude down face to face. He steps up and claims she's his maid, asking who the heck the stranger is, and wondering what scheme this guy is cooking up to steal her. Seeing the dude's completely red face, our MC figures he has no clue where this guy came from, but he's definitely some kind of creep. The guy apologizes for the rude behavior, leaving our boy confused as he asks if they already know each other. Confirming they do, the young man brings his hands together and starts a highly formal introduction. Introducing himself as Paisawi, he challenges our kid to a quick sparring match. With a massive, mocking grin, our MC just shuts him down on the spot. This leaves the other guy completely speechless while our boy just repeats, "I said no." Asked if he's trying to run away because he's scared, our kid confidently confirms both things without a second thought. The guy chuckles with pure mockery, calling him weak for wanting to bail out like that. Flashing a massive smile, our boy admits the guy is completely right and that he really is just super weak. His opponent is left stunned, while our MC thinks to himself that after the disaster of fighting his sister, there's zero chance he's repeating that mistake with a stranger. Trying to sneak away, he turns his back and announces he's hitting the road. Out of nowhere, the buff old man blocks his path, suggesting that since the guy traveled so far, he really should accept the challenge. Greeting the newcomer as the second elder, Zolhui gets a long time no see right back, while our confused kid asks if they know each other, making the old man ask, "Youngchan, did you forget?" The old man reveals the young guy is actually the first elder's grandson, noting that looking closely, they really do look alike. He asks Zolhui if he wants to spar and hears his confirmation, along with our MC's excuse about being scared, but quickly calls the kid out for just showing up to flirt. Pondering for a second, the guy in red asks if this is a direct order from the first elder. Our boy catches the hidden motive behind the challenge, realizing this isn't just some friendly spar, but actually a heavy political move. Thinking back to the first elder's ambitions, hoping to use his past weakness to turn him into a puppet leader, our MC knows that plan completely flopped. He wraps up his thoughts, figuring the old man is now deploying his own grandson to put our boy back in his place. To make it crystal clear once again, our kid states he really doesn't want to fight, but the elder pushes back, arguing he should spar at least once since the guy traveled all this way. Rejecting the idea again, our boy argues he'll definitely lose anyway, so there's zero point in even trying. Shooting him a sharp look, the old guy claims he isn't so sure Yangshan would actually lose. Our kid fires back instantly, pointing out the dude is clearly stronger than his sister, and he refuses to dive into political drama he's destined to lose. Stopped in his tracks, a hand grabs the girl's sleeve while she screams, "Wait, wait!" Our MC spots Zhui holding the maid's arm, just watching the whole thing go down. Speaking up, the guy claims young Master Pei isn't worthy of her at all. He pushes the issue, telling the girl not to settle for a coward like our boy, and offering to treat her way better, getting a confused "hun" in response. With his eyes burning with pure rage, our MC orders the guy to drop her hand and follow him, agreeing to whatever spar he wants. Standing right in the middle of the training yard, our boy stares his opponent down from a distance and lets out a heavy sigh. He second-guesses his choice, wondering if he acted a bit too recklessly back there. Reaching a hand over his shoulder, the old man asks what he's mumbling about. The elder ruffles the kid's hair, saying an entertaining fight like this will boost his strength, making our MC just lazily agree with a yeah. Turning back to the old man, our boy points out that since he played along, the elder owes him a favor, earning a you little brat right back. The elder shoots down the deal, claiming he has no reason to promise anything and warning that taking a loss as the future family head would only drag him down. Yanking himself free, our MC yells that he has zero plans to take over as the leader, leaving the elder completely mind-blown. The old guy grabs the kid, demanding to know what he's spouting and who else would inherit the throne, though our boy secretly knows he dished that ambition ages ago. He threatens to just drop to the floor and forfeit, swearing he'll throw the match on purpose if the elder doesn't grant his request. Grumbling about how uncute the brat is, the elder caves but drops a condition, making our MC groan. Here we go with the conditions again. The rule is simple: if he catches the win in this duel, the elder grants his favor. From across the arena, his opponent asks if he's done warming up yet. Our boy flashes a confident smirk, replying he's more than ready to go. Kicking things off with some trash talk, our MC claims he holds some deep resentment for the young master, leaving the guy confused by the sudden beef. Zehui smirks, recalling going a little overboard during last year's training, and joking about who could have guessed it would leave our kid bedridden for a whole month. Scratching his ear, our boy thinks to himself he doesn't remember a single thing about that, even if he did spend a long time stuck in bed. His opponent grips his sword hilt tight, saying that was the exact moment he realized how pathetically weak young Master Pei truly was. He keeps going, mentioning he heard the kid beat his second sister but assumes it was pure luck, and even though his grandpa thinks otherwise, he hates bullying the weak. Right then, this intense burst of energy starts flaring up from our boy's hand. To wrap up his rant, the guy states he hates the idea of letting a weakling take the throne even more, as our MC's sword catches fire with a glowing golden aura. Standing in the middle of the ring, our boy unleashes a heavy fiery aura that ripples right across the ground. Zehui calls out to the second elder, speaking up from the other side of the yard. He confidently declares that if he wins this match, there's something he wants as his prize too. Intrigued by the offer, the elder agrees the stakes should be even and asks what Zehui is aiming for. With a dead serious look, he doesn't even hesitate, demanding to take the mate. Our MC lets out a dark chuckle, treating the whole situation like a bad joke, and exploding in pure fury, he screams, "You absolute bastard." The elder cracks up at the explosive reaction, bursting into laughter and officially starting the duel. Amidst a wild energy flare, the two fighters stare each other down from across the ring. Feeling the heavy pressure, Zehui throws a taunt, asking why he isn't making a move. Our boy explains his chill stance, claiming proper duel etiquette lets the weaker guy strike first, making a confused Zehui ask, "The weak one? Me?" Right before our MC fires back, "Is that why you're shaking right now?" Gulping hard, the guy realizes that even though his internal energy, speed, and strength are way higher, he's feeling this unexplainable crushing pressure. He stares at his opponent, wondering if the insane heat he's feeling is coming from the kid, but brushes it off, thinking there's no way a total failure could pull that off. Covered in a blazing aura, our MC is clearly dumping all his internal energy just to intimidate him, which means that he's gotta be bluffing, exactly as expected. Figuring the brat is barely using any energy to actually guard himself, he concludes his defense is absolute garbage, and he's wide open for an attack. Our boy flashes a sly smirk, asking, "Didn't you say I could strike first?" Right as he shifts into gear, Zehui braces for the clash, yelling back, "All right, bring everything you've got." With a dead-focused glare, the tension in the air gets thick enough to cut with a knife. And that's where it gets crazy, charging at crack speeds. Our MC lands a clean punch right across his opponent's face. Zehui reads the move and mocks him, saying a sneak attack from behind is smart, but he's just way too slow. His fist completely wrapped in flames, our MC loads up for a highly devastating counterattack. Unleashing a massive punch, he hits the guy dead on, completely shattering his guard. Sent flying through the air by the impact, the dude loses all control and his sword slips right out of his grip. He lands with a heavy thud, face planting straight into the dirt, utterly defeated. The sheer force of the strike kicks up a massive cloud of dust and debris. Thanks to the heavy impact, the ground actually cracks, leaving a bloody mark right where he crashed. Spitting up blood, Zehui hears our boy tell him to get up while he still has the chance. Our MC fans away the dust, warning him not to drop any lame excuses after this is over, and asking if he just wants to call it quits right here. Struggling to his feet, the opponent admits he heavily underestimated him and apologizes for his lacking skills, hinting they should end the spar. He suddenly ignites his sword with flames, swearing it's not over yet and claiming it's officially his turn to strike. Realizing his plan to end the fight quickly just failed, our MC curses his luck, knowing he's running seriously low on time. Breaking down his own strategy, he knows he dumped his internal energy just to scare the guy off. And to actually brawl with someone stronger, he needs to condense that power to buff his body, though pushing it too hard could literally drive him insane. With a 7-minute time limit, he knows he's got to wrap this fight up fast. Breaking down his opponent's technique, he remembers the 7 dragon swords rely entirely on the draw, meaning he needs to watch out. Hand resting on his hilt, the guy gets ready for his next move. And with his eyes wide open, our boy instantly spots the incoming danger. Drawing his blade at crack speeds, Zehui unleashes a massive, fiery slash. He spins through the air, whipping up a flaming tornado that heads straight for our MC, who uses his hood to block it. Dodging the strikes like a pro, our kid moves with some seriously insane agility. Internally analyzing the guy's technique, he admits the moves are flawless and fluid, proving he definitely grinded hard. But knowing that Flo has a massive weak spot, he just keeps sidestepping those fiery attacks. The flaw is super obvious: if his combo gets broken, he'll have nowhere left to go. Cracking his knuckles, our MC plants his feet, entirely ready to shatter his opponent's rhythm. And this is where it gets good out of nowhere. He dashes forward and lands a clean hit right on the guy. Packing a brutal impact, the strike crashes into the dude's chest with overwhelming force. The attack is so OP, it triggers a mini energy blast, completely throwing the opponent off balance. Feeling the intense heat rolling off that punch, Zehui wonders where the heck he got such cracked internal energy. Right then, our boy knows this is the turning point and gears up to finish the fight. And letting out a loud shout, he dumps all his energy, ready to deliver the final blow. Spitting on the ground, our kid shakes off the recoil from that devastating strike he just dropped. At ridiculous speeds, the finishing move lands in the blink of an eye. It smashes into the ground with a massive shockwave, kicking up a smokescreen and carving a crater right into the yard. Sprawled out in the rubble, Zui is left lying in the dirt, absolutely bodied. Standing over his opponent, our MC asks, "You know what ticks me off the most?" While listening to him, Zehui groans in pain, realizing his body completely refuses to move. Leaking a super dark aura, our boy says he doesn't care about the trash talk or the greed for the throne, but aiming for something he shouldn't touch makes him furious. He locks in that intimidating glare, adding that knowing the guy lusted over something off limits just disgusts him. Clenching his fist, he wonders if he should just rip off one of the guy's arms so he never gets an idea like that again. Firm on that idea, he reaches out for the guy, figuring the right arm seems fitting enough. Grabbing the dude's arm tight, he gets ready to snap it. Right then, the elder steps in and places a hand on both of them, saying, "J-Tian, you did well." Checking out the wrecked courtyard, he declares the match needs to end right here. Not happy about the save at all, our MC listens as the old man claims he took things way too far. Inside another room, the elder tries to smooth things over, saying the guy should have been prepared and since he walked home, it's all good. But our boy stresses over the backlash the first elder might bring. He fires back instantly, asking, "So what? I don't even want to be the family head," completely triggering the old man, who yells, "What kind of nonsense are you spouting?" Unfazed, the elder asks who else could possibly take the throne, so our MC just points to his maid, asking if she wants the job and promising endless food, which she instantly accepts, claiming her new dream is to be the boss. Mind blown by the joke, the old guy scolds him that this isn't something to mess around with, but goes quiet when our kid argues she might actually do a better job than him. At that moment, our boy wonders when the girl is finally gonna learn how to wield a sword, while she just stares at him with pure admiration. He thinks about her situation, figuring that as a disciple she should be grinding hard, but all she does are chores without ever touching a blade, realizing she wasn't always this goofy. Trying to recall how he even ran into his maid during the winter, our boy zones out into his own thoughts. Unable to remember, he finds it super weird to forget something that huge, right as the worried girl asks if the young master is okay. Grabbing onto our MC, the kid assumes he hit his head during the fight and demands he makes her the boss before he kicks the bucket. The elder stands up, telling them to drop the leadership talk for now and ordering our boy to rest up since that match must have drained him. Watching the old guy walk off looking dead serious, our MC asks where he's heading. With a cheeky smirk, our kid reminds him that he still has to make good on that promise he made. Stopping to listen, the elder asks what the favor is, wondering if he wants cash or some food. He laughs off the idea, saying he doesn't want useless junk, and figuring with the old man's status, he can pull off a heavy request, so the elder asks what he actually wants. Pointing his finger with pure confidence, our boy gets ready to drop his real demand, and without hesitating he says, "Please, send me straight to Sichuan." Beyond confused by the crazy curveball, the elder just repeats, "Did you say Sichuan?" Flashing a confident smile, our MC claims that with the old man's pull, getting him there should be a breeze and asks what the big deal is. Met with total silence, our boy has zero clue why the elder is reacting like this. The old guy breaks it down, saying he worried for nothing since Sichuan isn't just some random spot, and as the only son, our MC can't just wander out there without a massive excuse. Pitching a quick fix, the elder tells him to just claim he's attending the Tang Weapon Expo. Still totally lost, our boy just stands there with a huge question mark over his head. It turns out the Tang Weapon Expo is a massive yearly event that invites crafters from all over to show off their gear. Liking the excuse, our kid says it's a solid reason, and since the old guy let him fight just to earn the trip, he admits his first demand was honestly just a test, and dropping the truth, he screams that what he actually needs right now is cash, making the girl beside him think, so that was it. His eyes going wide, the elder finally grasps the urgency and shouts, so you want to leave right this second, kicking himself for missing the kid's real motive and grumbling about how getting old sucks. The elder hears the brat beg, if you can't give me cash, at least hand over a spirit pill. In a huge burst of energy, the old man screams he'll ship him out instantly to prove the true power of an elder. Spooked by the intense reaction, our boy tries to cancel the whole thing, saying he'll take literally anything else instead, but screaming at the top of his lungs. The elder roars that he's sending him off right this very second. Panicking that leaving now is insane, our MC stresses out since he at least needs to pack and give his family a heads up. And no one saw that coming. An emergency order suddenly echoes through the yard. Send young Master GTN to Sichuan immediately, leaving our boy bewildered right before someone announces, young Master, your ride is fully prepped. Lost inside the room, our kid can only ask himself what the heck is even going down. In the blink of an eye, he's already rolling out in a carriage, while the elder waves enthusiastically and yells, stay safe on the road. The old guy waves with a massive grin, saying his goodbyes while the other elder next to him keeps a dead serious look. Turning around to leave, the other elder mentions they have chores to handle too, making the first guy ask in shock if he seriously has to pitch in. He scolds him, saying it's obvious. If the seniors are grinding, the juniors gotta step up and help. His face totally sour, the old man is clearly annoyed by that order. The serious elder notices his bad mood and says since they're alone he can vent while they work, pointing out he probably shipped the kid off in a hurry just to get this off his chest. Getting straight to the point, the old man explains that a few days ago, the Pei family head asked him about the medicine saint, clearly doing a favor for someone else. Intrigued, the other elder asks why he's even looking for the medicine saint. Without answering, the old guy just stands there in silence, deep in thought. Grabbing his arm firmly, the serious elder shows he's entirely out of patience. He presses him hard, warning that if the guy stays quiet, he'll bring up boring topics instead, asking about the senyu's granddaughter, Wei Shuer. And as her image flashes in his mind, he thinks she doesn't even feel human, seriously wondering what the heck she really is. Shooting him a dark look, the old man warns, Pei Lun, you're crossing the line. The elder leaks an imposing aura, telling him to watch his mouth. Backing up his point, Pei Ling says that just like he can feel the senior's presence, every living thing has one, human or not, and the only difference is how strong it is. But thinking back to the first time he saw her at the academy, he keeps going. Wearing a dead serious look, he recalls that exact moment. He concludes that when he looked at the girl, he felt absolutely zero presence from her, warning the old man to give up on finding the medicine saint to save her. He argues it's not a sickness and the guy knows it, right before dropping one more detail. With a massive explosion of power, the old man screams, Pei Lun, that's enough, summoning countless golden swords and insisting the girl is fully human. Locking his eyes with pure determination, he stares the guy down without a hint of hesitation, and keeping that dead serious expression, he shows absolutely zero doubt in what he just said. Turning his back to leave, Pei Lun replies that since the senior said so, he'll buy it, adding that if he wants to protect the kid, he'll stay out of it since his opinion doesn't matter anyway. Left alone amidst his floating energy blades, he figures that even if she isn't human, it doesn't matter. He just needs to fix the piece she's missing. Clenching his fist, he swears he'll offer up his own life if he has to, completely dedicated to seeing the girl grow up safely. But a few hours later, when the swordmaster finally realizes the kid is gone, it's already way too late. Under the starry sky and a bright full moon, the trip rolls on deep into the night. Chilling around a campfire, the girl mentions it'll take days to hit Sichuan, so they gotta ration their food. But her buddy tells her to just cook whatever they have right now. He asks about our MC and hears he went off to train while they set up camp, joking with a laugh that the kid must be bored and they should have brought his maid along. Training solo in the dark, our boy moves at insanely cracked speeds, throwing rapid-fire punches into the air and unleashing a burst of red energy. He executes a heavy strike, proving he's seriously grinding. Completely winded from the brutal session, he tries to catch his breath. Sitting on the ground completely drained, he wonders how his internal energy runs dry after just a few moves, realizing his progress is way too slow despite training daily for almost 10 days. He looks back at the Zehe fight, figuring his biggest flaw is his low mana pool, noting that even though energy is the foundation of everything, his is just severely lacking. With pure resolve, he clenches his fist, deciding he has to buff his energy as fast as humanly possible. Channeling his power right into his palm, a purple energy sphere starts to take shape. Thinking about the technique, he remembers the demonic source suction skill, an arc that absorbs magic stones or spirit pills and turns them into pure power. Aware of the side effects, he knows stacking up demonic energy leads straight to ruin, but for some reason, his other technique completely purified that dark aura. Since he hasn't felt any demonic vibes since then, he figures he can boost his stats without dealing with the nasty drawbacks. But Art Vision warns him that since it's a heavenly demon art, he better stay far away from it, realizing he can't walk down that cursed path he already escaped. Interrupted by a high-pitched scream, he jumps and wonders what the heck is going down. Trying to wrap his head around the situation, he asks himself what could have possibly happened this time. One of the guards rushes over asking why there's so much screaming, while the other stutters and points. "Young master, that." With a trembling hand, they point straight at the carriage, stuttering, The carriage?" Stepping up carefully, our boy peeks through the curtain, asking, "Inside the carriage?" And catching sight of what's in there, he lets out a scream of pure terror. Jumping right out of the ride, the maid yells, "Young master!" with a massive grin on her face. She flashes an awkward smile and admits she accidentally tagged along for the ride. In a quick flashback, the kid begged to go, but the old man shut it down instantly, saying she can't even handle chores yet, wants to travel. Pushing back, she asked why he let her go last time, prompting the elder to ask if she meant the Wolong conference. The elder broke down the difference, explaining that back then, if she caused trouble, someone could help, but in Sichuan, she'd be completely on her own. To shut down the argument, the old guy said if she got the message, she better go help load the luggage. Holding the clothes tight, the little girl thought she heard the young master would be gone for at least a month. Since she felt totally useless for not helping out, she figured there was no other way, and ended up sneaking into the carriage. Now inside the pitch-black compartment, she suddenly stops and asks to wait a second. Spooked by a noise coming from the back, she wonders who else could possibly be in there. She finds it super weird to see the place empty, positive she heard a sound coming from one of the boxes. Right then, a mysterious hand pops out of nowhere and shoves her hard from behind. The kid faceplants straight into a crate full of veggies, yelling in pure panic. Confused inside the box, she complains that she didn't jump in on purpose, claiming someone pushed her, and that's not a cool joke. Suddenly, a pair of glowing, ghost-like hands appears, making the maid admit she's actually getting pretty scared. Feeling the hands closing in, the little kid tries to stand up, thinking she needs to bail out as fast as possible, but starting to lose consciousness, she can barely even keep her eyes open, and passing out right on top of the veggies. The last thing she hears is a whisper saying, "I'm sorry." With everything packed up outside, the carriage takes off while a voice says, "I'm counting on you." Wrapping up the whole crazy story, the kid points with pure confidence and claims that's exactly how she ended up there. After that massive lore drop, an awkward silence hangs over the campfire, while everyone processes the whole mess. The kid wears a shocked look and tries to clumsily justify why she's tagging along. She wraps up her explanation with pure passion, yelling that's how it all went down, while our MC just dryly replies that he heard her. Smacking her lightly on the head, our boy asks if she's really claiming a ghost possessed her, and after she nods, he just tells her to get lost. A quick flashback shows the carriage speeding away with the kid screaming for the young master, while he figures he should have done this from the very start. Spotting an owl flying by, our MC mentions he ate one before but found the meat super tough, getting a simple nod from the guard. Right after that, spotting a squirrel, the kid says she ate one too and it's delicious, but the guard finds it cruel, right as our boy drops the news that her mushrooms got confiscated. Our boy realizes they're way too far to send her back with an escort, and with no extra food, their only option is letting her tag along. Flashing a mischievous smirk, the kid offers up a squirming worm, proposing a trade to get her mushrooms back. He literally tosses her out of the carriage in a fit of rage, while she panics and screams for her mushrooms rolling down the road. Completely annoyed, our MC lies back and grumbles that he should have shipped her home from day one. And that's where it gets crazy. A sinister green energy suddenly starts creeping in from outside, signaling heavy danger. Sensing the creepy vibe, our boy goes on high alert, instantly knowing something is way off. He jumps up and screams for his guard Wu Yan, ordering everyone to halt the carriage immediately, mentioning it's way too quiet. He orders the kid inside since it's dangerous, and reading the enemy's auras, he counts 4 targets. Out of nowhere, a roar shatters the silence, and one of the beasts gets taken down instantly. Mind blown by the speed of that strike, our kid realizes the threat count just dropped to 3. In the blink of an eye, another monster gets completely bodied, leaving only 2 standing. He wonders if there's only one left, right as this massive beast pops up at the window out of nowhere. Staring the monster down face to face, our MC wraps his fist in flames, completely ready to brawl. This mysterious white-haired figure drops in, slices the beast in half with a blue aura, and tells them to step back. Rocking a cold, laser-focused look, the newcomer gears up for the next strike. With 2 rapid, precise slashes, she unleashes this overwhelming energy wave that completely wipes out the rest of the enemies. Standing right over the monster's remains, the figure slowly sheaths her blade. She finishes sheathing her weapon and turns around to face the crew. One of the guards apologizes for struggling solo while thanking her for the save, and when the kid asks who he's talking to, our boy tells her to keep quiet. Answering the question anyway, the little girl waves from the carriage and yells, "It's us!" Absolutely confused by the scene, our boy is left clueless about what's actually going down. But suddenly, the realization hits him like a truck, and he goes into full panic mode thinking, damn it. Getting hit with a terrifying vision, he recalls a blade dripping blood onto a dark floor, and in his memories that exact white-haired figure was standing right in the middle of a pool of blood and fallen bodies. The mysterious woman figures out their destination, mentioning it looks like they're heading to Sichuan. Looking around, she notices there's nobody else in sight. She lifts her head, fully ready to drop an offer. With a completely wrecked background behind her, the figure asks if she can tag along for the trip. Formally introducing herself as Nangong Sinner, she leaves our boy totally mind-blown as he thinks, that crazy woman, why the heck is she here? Under a gloomy purple sky, a heavy vibe settles in, foreshadowing something terrible. Pecking at a fallen body, a crow feeds right in the middle of the super morbid silence. Bodies are scattered all over the stone ground, proving just how brutal the recent massacre really was. Taking in the sight, the dark-haired guy gets annoyed and asks if the woman is the only survivor, questioning if she's the one who wiped everyone out. The white-haired girl sits among the dead and asks what the boss actually told him, saying the boss sent him to stop her from acting like a maniac. He glares at her, but she snaps back, asking if the rest of it is his business, to which he replies that if she gets it, she must be sane. She gets up to leave and says, "Let's go." But the guy stops her, pointing out that's totally the wrong way. Completely lost, she tries heading one direction and he corrects her again, explaining that's right and they actually need to go left. Losing his patience, he tells her to drop the weird act and just follow his lead, secretly thinking about how exhausting dealing with her really is. The girl shatters the silence while walking down the bloodstained streets, calling out to him. Curious, she turns around and asks if the swordmaster is actually cracked. Ignoring her question, he warns her not to pull any useless stunts or try fooling the boss, while muttering to himself about the swordmaster's power and wondering if he's stronger than him or the leader. He keeps grumbling about his doubts down the empty street, while she just agrees with a simple okay. Suddenly feeling his rage spike, he wraps his hand in purple energy thinking, that crazy woman. And no hesitation, he fires a massive blast of energy straight into her back. Her face lit up by the purple glow. The girl takes the surprise attack head on. Completely swallowed by an aura of purple flames, she tanks the hit without even flinching. But in a flash, the energy around her shatters just like glass, totally fading into thin air. Spinning around with a dead serious glare and a crackling aura, she bluntly asks, "What's up? You wanna fight?" The guy just looks away, clearly annoyed his stunt completely flopped, muttering under his breath. Pointing toward the mountains, the dude warns her there's no path that way, and she just nods along. Fully out of patience, he tells her to shut her mouth and just follow him. The girl calls his name one more time down the bloody street. Shooting her a furious glare, he threatens that if she brings up the 3 sovereigns again, he'll literally tear her to shreds. She brushes off the threat and points down an alley, saying that in her opinion, cutting through there would be way faster. Charging up energy in his palm, he turns around asking what kind of nonsense she's spouting now. The scene shows the girl walking away, leaving a trail of blood, while a voice calls her a maniac, mentioning it took under a day to reach the destination, and the Imperial Palace incident already went down 3 days ago. Cutting back to the carriage, the white-haired woman notes they're heading to Sichuan and asks if she can tag along without being a bother. Our MC shuts her down instantly, claiming they aren't going there and she'd definitely cause trouble, secretly thinking he'd have to be insane to get tangled up with this woman again. Backing up his point, he explains he's got enough on his plate and doesn't even know if she's really from the Nangong family, so he absolutely can't let her join them. The girl simply replies that she gets it after hearing the hard rejection. Wearing a dead serious and determined look, her blue eyes lock right onto the crew. She shuts her eyes for a split second, totally focused. And no one saw that coming. A blue electric aura just explodes around her with some absolutely mind-blowing force. A massive blue energy pillar erupts into the sky as she unleashes her power, catching everyone off guard. Seeing the technique, our boy panics, recognizing the Emperor's sword form and wondering why she'd use it here, already prepping to draw his weapon. With her eyes glowing bright, the woman releases even more power, and by directing that energy, she causes a massive explosion in the distant mountains. Still crackling with aura, she explains her strength isn't enough to control the technique perfectly yet, so that was all she could show. Turning to our MC, whose hand is on his red glowing sword, she asks if that level of power is proof enough for him. He finally confirms she's really from the Nangong family after recognizing the move, but giving a forced smile, he turns down her company, saying they can't travel with someone using such terrifying martial arts, and apologizes. Later that night, a frog roasts on a spit over the campfire, while the servant girl watches the whole thing, looking incredibly shocked. Spotting the woman camped a bit further away, the servant mentions it looks like she's staying the night, and our boy just says he knows. Our MC thinks back on the whole situation, remembering his relief when she accepted his rejection without complaining, but he never expected her to follow them, wondering why she insists since he said they aren't heading to Sichuan. Deciding it's best to just ignore her, he warns the servant not to talk to that woman or do anything stupid. Right beside the other girl, the servant cheerfully shows how to skin a frog, fully ignoring the warning while the white-haired woman watches in silence. Our MC pops up out of nowhere after seeing this, grabbing the servant's face hard and making her scream in shock. Annoyed beyond belief, he asks what she's doing, and the girl replies she was just helping Sinner with the frog, but he reminds her he already told her to stop being weird, while she plays dumb, asking when he ever said that. Without saying a word, the white-haired woman just stares at our MC, who glares right back, sparking some heavy tension. Stepping closer to her, our boy says he knows she's from the Nangon family, but can't figure out why a young lady would travel alone to somewhere so far. The woman explains with a bit of embarrassment that she left with her group but got lost on the way, making our MC think to himself, I knew it. Looking back at her past, he remembers she was always terrible with directions, and asks again why she keeps following them, but the woman insists she feels their destination is the same. Super confused, the servant turns to our MC and asks if they aren't heading to Sichuan. She shakes her head from side to side, looking at our boy and the woman, who also deny it. Still processing the information, the servant shifts her gaze back to the white-haired woman. And that's where it gets crazy. Panicking, the girl yells, "What? We're not going to Sichuan?" While our MC thinks he should have sent her home way sooner. Trying to put an end to this whole thing, our boy tells the woman he doesn't care if she follows them or not, but asks her to stop right there. The woman formally introduces herself as Nangong Sin-er, and our boy just thinks he already knows that. Pushing for an introduction, she asks the young master to say his name too, but our MC turns away and refuses on the spot. Under pressure, our boy stays quiet for a second but ends up caving and reveals his name, Pei Zhihui, and the woman asks what. Standing with his back to her by the campfire, he formally introduces himself as Pei Zhihui from the Pei family, and the girl just repeats his name and apologizes. 2 days later, the trip goes on, and the servant excitedly points at a squirrel saying, "Sister Sinner, look," while the other replies with a simple, "Oh." Walking side by side, the servant asks if Sinner has ever eaten squirrel, and she says no. Says the servant is walking and chatting with her new companion, the carriage slows down, and our MC yells for the girl to get in already, but she asks if Sinner can hop in too, and he answers with another question, "Do you think she can?" Rejecting the offer, the servant says she doesn't want to, then annoying our boy, but right then, Sinner asks if she can get in the carriage, dropping an awkward silence. Inside the ride, our MC asks the guard Wu Yan how much longer they have, and hears that at a normal speed it'd take 1 day, but at this pace, it'll be 3. Noticing the situation, the guard suggests to the young master that, even though he doesn't know the reason, maybe it'd be best to let the girl travel with them. He mutters with a grumpy face, sighing and admitting there's no other way. Spotting a village down in the valley, the guard suggests they stop to rest there, giving his master some time to think things through. With a firm step onto the stone courtyard, the group finally arrives at the village. Stretching out relieved, our little MC mentions they only have 1 day left now, and the guard agrees, happy it's their last night without having to camp. The servant arrives carrying Sinner on her back, shouting excitedly that her sister is gonna sleep with them, and the white-haired girl asks, surprised, if she really can. Scolding them for the scene, our boy says if he allowed it, it's fine, but orders the servant to put her down right away, questioning why his servant is carrying such a noble lady, and the girl explains it was because her foot was hurting, reminding him he didn't let her use the carriage. Since they've already arrived and need to stop causing trouble, our MC tells her to get down, and Sinner herself gently asks Swearer she wants to be put down. Suddenly, the servant points in fear at a group walking up, saying those people are wearing the exact same clothes as Sister Signer. Running straight toward them, a white-haired guy yells out desperately, "Sister!" He grabs her shoulders, asking where the heck she went, and as she knows how long the family's been looking for her. And the girl just apologizes, saying she got lost. Annoyed, her brother says that's why he told her to walk tied to a rope, but the girl dodges him, replying that it'd be way too embarrassing. With a look of relief mixed with worry, the guy says that because of that, she vanished for a whole day, leaving him half dead from worrying. Turning to the girl on his sister's back, he asks who she is, and the kid introduces herself as Shuere and points to her master, who irritably orders her to get down already. Our boy connects the dots, thinking that being Nangong Sinner's brother, that guy can only be emanating a blue thunder ore. The guy introduces himself as Nangong Tianjun from the Nangong family, the one who will be known in the future as one of the 5 swords of Marim, but right now is the Thunder Dragon. A smile on his face. Our MC also introduces himself as Pei Juhui from the Pei family, saying it's a huge honor to meet the famous Thunder Dragon here. Laughing awkwardly, the white-haired guy says it's not a big deal and that he's being praised too much. For a split second, a serious and piercing look flashes, showing his suspicion. Switching tones completely, the guy asks how exactly he ended up walking alongside his sister. Our boy makes up an excuse, saying they bumped into each other by chance on the way to Sichuan and decided to travel together, while the servant thinks in confusion, "Ha, but we weren't going there." Not knowing what to do, the servant stays quiet and looks down, feeling super awkward. The guy apologizes for his sister and invites them to stay with them, mentioning they booked plenty of rooms, but our MC turns down the offer, saying there's no need to thank him since he just did what was needed. Thinking his connection to that crazy woman ends here, our boy tells them to just go look for a room. Except the guard informs him there are no more rooms available, and our MC, out of patience, orders him to set up camp, whispering in his ear. The guard begs, saying they've been camping for days and everyone is exhausted, but our boy isn't moved at all. With no other options, he finally caves under the starry sky and accepts the offer, saying he'll be causing a bother. Remembering a dark future, our MC knows the first thing Nangon Sinner did as a demon was wipe out her own family, and visualizing the massacre, he recalls that she took everyone out, including her brother, the leader, and the disciples, later earning the title of Demonic Sword and spreading her terrifying rep everywhere. Sitting on the porch, our boy reflects that he used to think she hated her family, but her interaction with her brother, the Thunder Dragon, seemed way too normal. What intrigues him most about her power is the Emperor's sword form technique, which should make her way more OP than her brother, yet there are zero rumors about it. Finding her brother completely normal and wondering what the catch is, our MC decides to head into his room. But as he opens the door, he runs right into that exact guy coming toward him down the hall. Approached by the young man, he gets asked if he slept well and says thanks for the awesome room, and no one saw that coming. Out of nowhere, the guy grabs him by the collar with some crazy strength. With a dark and threatening glare, her brother tells our MC he really needs to know his place. Stunned beyond belief, our boy can only manage to ask, what? Continuing the threat, the guy says he thought about leaving him alone once, but he clearly doesn't know what's good for him, and shouldn't have even dared to speak to his sister. He swears to tear him in half if he tries anything else with his pure sister, angrily bringing up the servant who carried her on her back, Chu. Right at that moment, his sister shows up, and the guy does a complete 180, flashing a huge smile and loudly saying how happy he is to host him, while she asks what he's talking about. Pulling his sister by the arm, the young man calls her to get some breakfast, leaving our MC super confused behind them. Our boy comes to a single conclusion watching this bizarre scene. They're all out of their minds. Right after that, his guard walks up and asks if he slept well, starting to drop comments about the people from the Nangom family. Out of patience, our boy tells the guard not to even mention those people and asks when they're heading out. Told the preparations are done and they can leave right after breakfast, our MC thinks with relief that at least his guard is normal, leaving the guy unsure if he should thank him for the compliment. Saying he wants to eat and bounce as fast as possible since he can't stand being around that family, our MC walks into the dining room, Inside, he finds the servant and sinner, who apologizes for not greeting him earlier, while the other invites him to join them. Seeing he isn't eating, the servant offers her buns, claiming they're delicious. But our MC just glares at the two of them, annoyed, and asks if they really have to sit right there, sitting down at the table with them. He says he doesn't care about the servant, but that the young lady's spot shouldn't be here. He points to the main table, telling her that's her spot, and the girl replies she just picked a close seat, but now her brother is giving him a death stare. Turning around to look, Sinner asks, "What do you mean?" With a forced smile on his face, her brother asks if she really thinks he'd do something like that, biting into his bun angrily. Our boy thinks he has no clue what that guy is planning, but their next run-in will strictly be at the Tang Weapon exhibition. He stands up all of a sudden, saying he's eaten and is leaving since they won't see each other again, and there's no reason to stick around. Leaving the room, he tells the servant to take her time eating and come out later, while she calls for him to wait, and Sinner just nods along. With a distant look, the white-haired woman goes quiet for a second, but a dark aura starts radiating off her, showing that something is definitely off. Covering her mouth, she seems to feel a sudden wave of sickness. Her brother steps closer, calling out, "Sister, sister," and using a possessive tone. He asks why she's sitting there alone when everyone else is at the main table. A sinister gleam flashes in her eye for just a moment. Standing by the table, her brother is swallowed by a dark and threatening blue aura, revealing his true nature. The girl defends her choice, saying she sat there because it was closer, but her brother scolds her, telling her to sit in the right spot next time, and she just apologizes. Leaving the inn behind, our boy heads out with his group under the rain that's starting to pour. As his sister gets up from the table, the white-haired guy asks where she's going without finishing her food, and the girl replies she's heading to the carriage to rest a bit. With a dead serious look, the young man watches his sister walk quickly away through the hall. Already outside, the servant turns around surprised and yells, "Hey, Sister Sinner, why are you following us again?" Snapping his fingers in frustration, our MC mutters a "tets" and just rolls with the situation. Inside the inn, her brother grips the table hard, thinking with pure hatred that he can't stand people who cause trouble. He turns to the girl completely lost, asking why she's still trailing them. Correcting him, the white-haired lady replies she isn't following but rather tagging along with them. Annoyed by the answer, our boy points outside and says even if that's true, she has her own group, so why the heck is she in their carriage? The servant pops up out of nowhere, throwing her arms up and cheerfully shouting that she brought her, leaving the other girl feeling awkward. Losing his patience entirely, our MC yells at the guard to throw them both out, but the guy just figures they'll step down on their own eventually. Under the starry sky, the carriage finally reaches its destination, Sichuan City. Showcasing the sheer scale of the place, it's revealed that the Sichuan Tang clan is located there, a righteous sect rooted in the region for centuries. As for the major families, it's said the Nangong are known for their sharp blades, the Peng family for their solid energy, and the Tang family for their refined techniques. Even though they don't seem as cracked as the rest, they're number one when it comes to poisons and hidden weapons, making the Tang Weapon exhibition a product of their pride. Our boy touches his chin, deep in thought as he reflects on all of this. Standing on the balcony, he realizes the weapon exhibition wraps up in 3 days, and he strictly needs to track down the treasure vault by then. The only info he has is the vault's general location around Sichuan, so our MC gets annoyed seeing the servant floating around talking about how spacious the place is. Staring at the massive city, he asks himself where the heck he's even supposed to start looking. He figures if he doesn't find it, he'll have to tell the old man, so he decides to put in more effort and check everywhere. But suddenly, he jumps and lets out a scream seeing the servant pop up right next to him. Catching his breath, our MC thinks she almost gave him a heart attack and wonders why she's even out here. Super hyped on the balcony, the servant yells that it's her first time being up this high, and the breeze feels really refreshing. Turning to him with a massive smile, the girl excitedly points and tells him to watch the fireflies dancing in the moonlight. Our boy stays completely silent, ignoring the whole scene while the kid keeps rambling that Sister Shuer also mentioned a pretty lake nearby. Without saying a single word, our MC just grabs her wrist, pulling our MC by the hand. The servant happily yells for them to go check out the lake together. Down by the water, the two of them pause to take in the full moon view, complete with a forest backdrop and glowing fireflies. He comments on the spot, admitting the lake is actually pretty huge just like she said, making the girl lower her head in embarrassment. Blown away, he wonders how massive this estate has to be to fit an entire forest inside, while the servant smiles. Shifting the mood out of nowhere, our MC gets her attention with a "Hey?" He asks where Schwerer wandered off to, spotting her crouching to play with some flowers, and tells her to quit messing around, which kinda bums her out. Defending herself, the girl explains she only did it because he looked worried and she wanted to cheer him up, but he says she can't help and shouldn't butt in, though she insists talking to her might fix the problem. To test her, our MC asks if that's really true, questioning how how she tracked down a hidden valuable item in such a massive place. Her unexpected answer is to get mad, saying it's sad to hide things and that he doesn't need to understand her feelings. Right then, sensing a presence, our boy yells, "Who's there?" as the lake water starts rippling. A serious female voice warns them that outsiders aren't allowed in there. Remembering suddenly, our MC thinks it makes sense since the Tang family still has that one specific person. As footsteps approach, he recalls the future where this exact figure single-handedly stops an invasion of thousands of demons in Sichuan. Appearing right in front of them, a green-haired girl asks who they are, stepping up as Tong Shaoli, the poison concubine. Instantly, a vision of a massacre kicks in, complete with the sound of slicing blades and red splattering everywhere. In the middle of a scene filled with bones and fallen bodies, the younger version of that girl sits on the ground while a dark figure steps closer. Stopping right in front of the kid, the figure tells her to knock it off. With a commanding voice, the man asks if this is the end for her, calling her the poison concubine. Her face completely battered, a red trickle falls from the little girl's eye. Looking up with a pained smile, the kid asks, "Is it you?" The guy mocks the whole situation, calling her pathetic since her own blood relatives bailed long ago, and asks if he thinks staying there changes anything, to which the little girl answers obviously not. Completely lost, the dark figure questions why she keeps doing this. Tossing the question back with a smile, the girl wants to know why he came all the way out here, calling his question stupid. He grabs her by the neck with some brutal force. Showing off a sadistic glare, the man says he came so she could take her final breath, and the young girl just accepts it. But even while getting choked out, the girl tells him she feels bad for him. Confused by her reaction, the man asks if she's really apologizing to a demon, and if the poison concubine finally lost her mind. Flashing a creepy smile, the kid confirms that yeah, she's finally let go of her sanity. She follows up by saying, "You only see a lot of things after losing your sight, and if she'd known, she would have ditched her sanity way sooner." Out of patience, the man tells her to stop talking nonsense and asks if those are her last words. Making one final request, the girl says that even though she has no right, if she has any time left in this world, she just wishes him. And with a sharp snap, he ends it right there. Turning his back, the man drops her lifeless body to the ground. He stares down at his own stained hand. With a look of pure disgust, he just mutters about how nasty that is. Yelling in anger, the young girl snaps him out of his thoughts, demanding to know why he isn't answering her. Our MC watches the scene, wondering if, looking closely, she's still that same girl obsessed with poisons, threatening to call someone if he doesn't speak up. The girl gets cut off when a hand lands on her shoulder, calling her Shahuli. The white-haired lady suddenly appears, whispering right beside her and completely spooking the other girl. Spinning around to face her, the green-haired girl asks why Sister Schwer is only telling her this now, and the other just replies she never asked. She bows in apology, introducing herself as Tang Xiaoli and begging forgiveness for being rude to a guest, while our boy says sorry too, giving his name is Hui and explaining he was just too stunned to answer. Shifting her gaze to our boy, the green-haired girl asks what he's doing out here. As she explains the area isn't for outsiders, the servant interrupts to ask if Miss Nangong isn't an outsider too, but the white-haired lady stutters that her family already gave permission. Realizing she's essentially kicking him out, our MC mutters about her being petty, but says he was heading out anyway so he'll leave first. And just like that, he turns around and starts walking up the stairs, leaving the two of them behind. Watching the guy walk away, the white-haired lady asks if this Pei Shuhei isn't super rude, and the other girl agrees. To figure out what's going on, the young lady asks Sayo Li why she was glaring at him so fiercely, and she replies that she accused him of messing up, but got annoyed since he never apologized once. Complaining angrily, the green-haired girl says she doesn't get why being handsome is a big deal and can't stand guys who think they're all that just because of their looks. Suddenly feeling awkward, the girl turns her face away, blushing hard. Yelling in sheer embarrassment, she denies ever calling him handsome and acts completely flustered, while the other notices she's blushing. Super confused by the reaction, the white-haired lady just questions what's even going on. Hearing their chat from a distance, our MC gets annoyed and scoffingly thinks handsome, while the woman next to him wonders the exact same thing. Her thoughts shifting to her friend, the green-haired girl realizes that even awake, she's still a warm and kind person. Walking right beside him, the servant throws her arm up and yells that, at the end of the day, all those handsome guys are just plain rude. On a peaceful morning with birds singing, a brand new day kicks off at the Tang estate. Keeping in mind that the weapon exhibition is tomorrow, our MC decides to use his remaining time to get some training in. Except when he opens the door, he runs straight into the Nangang siblings, and the girl points at him, ready to speak. Running out of patience, our boy asks why they came looking for him again. Confused, her brother asks what dinner she's talking about, while the lady just replies that it's time to eat. Slapping on a forced smile, the guy explains the Tang clan invited them for a meal, and his sisters thought it'd be great if the young master joined, which is why they asked, and our boy says thanks for the invite. Our MC chuckles awkwardly, making up an excuse that his personality is way more shy than it seems. Deep down though, he angrily thinks he said enough and they should just take the hint and get out of there. Seeing his refusal, the white-haired lady begs him not to be like that. Without any warning, her brother grips our boy's wrist super hard. Wearing a ticked-off expression, the guy tells him to just tag along and drop it. Furious, our MC thinks this scumbag doesn't take no for an answer, and now he's plotting to threaten and drag him by force. And this is where it gets good. A tiny, sinister smile creeps onto his face, shifting the whole vibe. Letting a menacing red aura leak out, our boy shows off just a fraction of his power. The white-haired guy is fully stunned seeing that, forcing him to take a step back. Standing right in front of them, our boy thinks this whole thing is a mess, while the two siblings freeze up. He completely flips the script, breaking into a smile and saying if they insist that much, there's nothing else to do, so they'll just go together. Throwing his arm around the guy's shoulder, our MC mentions there's one more thing. Our boy whispers right in his ear to grab his attention. Mr. Nangang. With a wicked glare, he threatens him, telling him to control his face since the sister he values more than his own life is staring right at him, grinding his teeth in pure hatred. The white-haired guy can barely hold it together while our MC taunts him from behind. The lady awkwardly thanks him, saying, "Young master, thanks for accepting the invite," and our boy sarcastically fires back that he didn't have a choice since they begged so hard. Sitting at the table, he stares down a feast where every single dish is bright red and looks ridiculously spicy. Feeling the heat just by looking at it, our MC thinks he knew Sichuan food was famous for its spice, but he never expected every single dish to be like this. Wondering how on earth he's gonna eat. Welcomed by the young master of the Tang house, Tang Zhou Yi, the guy says it's just a simple meal and hopes they enjoy it, making our boy think ironically, enjoy what? After scanning the options, he decides to grab a bun, thinking at least that one doesn't look too red and should be edible, even though it's his first time seeing a bun that color. The green-haired girl watches him closely from across the table as he brings the food to his mouth. Noticing her intense and flushed stare, our MC wonders why she's glaring at him like that again, with an image of demon eyes popping up in the background. He remembers from his past life that during the many times they ran into each other, she always looked at him in that exact same way. Resigned, he thinks he didn't expect to see that face of hers again in this life, and, with a sigh, finally takes a bite of the bun. Chewing for a second, he swallows the piece without any major issues. And that's where it gets crazy, exploding in flames. He feels the spice burn his mouth, desperately wondering how it can be so hot, and where he can spit it out. Across the table, the girl starts panting after seeing his reaction, her face completely flushed with a look of pure satisfaction. Fanning his mouth in a panic, our boy complains it's too spicy and he doesn't know what to do, until someone hands him a glass of water. He quickly grabs the cup, thanking them desperately and chugging the whole thing down at once. While he tries to recover, the white-haired lady places a piece of meat on his plate using her own chopsticks. Speaking calmly, she tells him that one isn't spicy and he can eat it. Our MC gets super flustered by the gesture, only managing to stutter out a miss. Noticing the change in her tone, he asks why she suddenly dropped the formal language, and the lady just repeats that he can eat, while her brother shakes with rage in the background. From the other side of a table, the white-haired guy grinds his teeth and squeezes his chopsticks so hard he almost snaps them, radiating an aura of pure hatred. The host comments on the scene, saying it seems the chopstick quality isn't very good, but the white-haired guy defends himself, claiming it's actually just his habit to use a bit of force when holding them. Slowly stepping closer, the green-haired girl sits right next to our MC. With her face blushing and head down, she stays completely silent for a moment. Our boy looks at her in confusion, noticing the awkward approach, asking if she has something to say since she looks like she really wants to speak. The girl gets startled and denies everything, saying she has nothing to talk about. She starts stuttering out a, "well," and our MC encourages her to keep going. Right when she's about to ask what he likes, Sin-er's brother interrupts with a massive smile, asking the host if the spot up ahead is the training ground. Answering the question, the host explains it's an exclusive training field for clan members, and even though they maintain it, nobody uses it since everyone everyone has their own independent practice spots. The white-haired guy shows his interest, asking if he can take a look, and the host agrees, saying since everyone is done eating, they can head over together. Staring at the guest, our MC stays quiet, wondering what on earth he's plotting. Once they arrive, a massive outdoor training arena comes into view, surrounded by walls with the mountains resting in the background. Chatting about the place, the white-haired guy says it's pretty spacious, and our MC thinks it's spacious as heck. He mentions to the host that he heard the ancestors' orders were to build something grand, but he doesn't quite get why, to which the other laughs and replies, "There's always a reason behind these things." Suddenly, the green-haired girl runs toward her brother, yelling, "Brother!" making our MC jump. Smelling a tiny flower in her hands, the girl comments on how good it smells, leaving our boy to think, thank goodness he's not related to that crazy chick. The host points at the field, suggesting they can use it to digest since they just ate, and our MC thinks he didn't even eat anything, so there's nothing to digest. Challenging our boy, the white-haired guy grabs a practice sword and asks if he'd be down for a little sparring match. With a smug smile, the young guy thinks he knew it and that our MC's expression looks like he wants him dead, wondering if he really believes he'll play along with his ridiculous plan. Our boy puts on a show, flashing a fake smile and saying a third-rate fighter like him would never dare face the Thunder Dragon, but right as he's about to turn it down, he gets cut off. The green-haired girl steps in front, saying they can't since the age and skill gap between them is way too huge, and wonders what they'd do if his face got messed up, leaving our MC super confused by her concern. Trying to smooth things over, the white-haired guy says it's no big deal because they won't use internal energy, and they can just spar like a mutual teaching session. With a challenging smirk on his face, he asks for our MC's thoughts on the offer. Thinking mockingly, instruction without internal energy, our boy gives a little smirk, finding the guy's proposal like a complete joke. He walks toward the center of the arena, suddenly asking if he can handle it, and his opponent, fully confused, questions what he means. This is where it gets good. Clarifying the question with a wicked smile, our boy asks if he actually has the skills needed for this. The host tries to step in, saying that no matter what, Tianjin is a senior and his words went a bit too far, but our MC stops him with a hand gesture. Forcing out a laugh, the white-haired guy accepts the challenge and says, "Then, let's do this." Surrounded by a blue aura of pure fury, he thinks with a maniacal smile that he's gonna see just how cracked our boy really is.